Hey, welcome and greetings, clobberers and clobberanimals and clobberettes and clobboniers and every other kind of clobby there is out there from Clobby. Good to see you. That too. I messed it up. Sorry.
Now we're live.
Now we're live. Now we're truly live. Welcome to Clobby's Clubhouse on Clobberin Times. It is, of course, Clobberin Time. Well, Clobberin Times number 421 on YouTube, number 1,121 overall, even though I misnumbered it accidentally on the program. I'm going to have to change that later. Damn it. And Clobby's Clubhouse number 46. So a lot of numbering going on.
Lots of numbers.
Ooh, I'm not good with numbers.
Math is hard.
Math is horrible, in fact. I hate math.
Math is not
I love Jill, but I hate math.
That's what Barbie said. You're going to argue with Barbie?
Yes. We'll argue with Barbie. Throw down, showdown, Barbie. Put up your dukes.
Indeedishness. So, hello, everyone. Before we start our hellos, a couple of quick show notes. Really, only one show note, I guess, is that we'll be here. Well, I might be on with Nick on the comic shop tomorrow night, of course, on Nick Weiser's channel at 8:30 p.m., whatever, I believe. I'm supposed to. Saturday night, Star Trek, same. Trek time, same. Clobby channel.
Dun, 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 dun.
4 more episodes of Deep Space Nine. So looking forward to that. And, of course, I'll have something for Monday night. Mark C. Comics Talk, not sure what it is, but of course, there could be the Sunday Night Geekery going on. And our great friend and engineer, Mark D. with the C, dropped the video. Everyone, please go to his channel. Put your link in there. And if you have not subscribed already, and of course, please go and watch his video when you get the chance.
Yeah, not now. After the show.
Now.
Yeah, it's a Lego time lapse. It's pretty cool. So
who am I to tell you what to do?
Well, I think it was cool, but yeah, that's my biased opinion.
Well, of course, you are biased.
If he drops anything other than a video, folks, I'll make him wash his hands. Don't be frightened. Stay where you are.
There you go. Oh, my goodness. Well, I want to welcome first, of course, the most wonderful first officer in the fleet, the amazing Commander R.M. Briggs. What's up, my love? It's so great to see you.
I don't deserve that opening, but I love you, and thank you for cheering me up. You're just the sweetest human being I've ever known. I love you. I've missed you. And let's get on.
Yes, let's club some clubhousing tonight. And, of course, Mark Deal with the C, the chief engineer. What's up? Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, no, I guess there was some other big show that premiered tonight that we're not going to mention, and some other green thing mentioned. So hopefully everyone's not going to, we're glad everyone's here and going to hang out with us and not over there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Over there, you mean over everywhere? It's Ring Around the Collar.
Everyone's talking about that show that I don't know what you're talking about. I got you.
There's a special laundry detergent for Ring Around the Collar.
There is. You use shout. And Clobby and I use shout regularly. That's why we don't have Ring Around the Collar. No Ring Around the Collar here.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, I did meet someone. Well, I was just going to say, I met someone really nice from Ireland today, from Dublin.
And what now?
Yeah, this is a random aside. You say hi to everyone, and I'll tell my story.
I was going to do our hellos and stuff. Hang on to it.
Yeah, do your hellos.
So
yeah. That's my bad.
So unorganized for an engineer.
Yeah,
like I'm not. With us tonight is, of course, we've got some great friends here with us in the chat. First, shout out to anyone who happens to be lurking or watching this later on a download. And Eric O'Sullivan, shout out to you, my friends, if in the event that you're watching or listening. Phantom Outsider, what's up, dude?
Fanty!
The great J-Man, hey, buddy. Good to see you, bro. Hope you're feeling all right. And I can't wait to get together with you for a Clobby's Classic Comics review.
He has some sort of weird thing happening where he's going to be he's going to do like space soap operas.
He did that tonight.
Yeah, but he was like laying down the ground rules for it, and I think he's going to do it on like a Friday night or something like that. And
okay.
Yeah, and I think we're going to do a watch along, but I'm super excited. It's like super, really, really D science fiction movies going head to head in a battle for who is best.
Okay, well there you go. It's the great J-Man channel. Please go to his channel and subscribe if you have not already. The link is in my description below. And if anyone wants to put that, any mod wants to put the link up in there, Jay, I think Jay has a wrench, does he not? Or no? So I think he does.
I think so.
I think Jay has one.
Yeah, Jay has a wrench.
Jay, man, put your channel up there always, buddy, please. in the description. And just in case anyone here's not subscribed, I'm sure they have, but just in case. Brian Hepburn.
Hey, Brian.
Good to see you. Thank you for being here. The great Maximum Redstone.
Maximum Redstone.
Our great friend Chris Persia. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. Thanks for being here, bro.
Oh, and thank you for the ads on the socials. I love you, honey.
Thanks for everything you do, buddy.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's just I'm not worthy, man. Thank you so much. The great Kal-El. What's up, buddy?
The real soup.
The
Stephen M.
Absolutely, isn't the great bronze wrencher himself, Eric K. What is up, dude?
Hello, I love you. Oh, guess what I had for supper? I had filet mignon, beef tenderloin for Americans.
Wow,
it was good. But whenever I have steak now, I think of Eric because Eric's always cooking up a good steak.
We call it filet mignon also.
Did you wrap it in bacon?
No need for that.
Oh, it's nice that way though too. Yeah.
Classic Comics. Hey, wrapped in bacon. Yeah, man. Texas to Brazil, filet mignon wrapped in bacon. So when they bring that to the table, that's my favorite. If it's not undercooked, of course. Like in other words, if it's got any red in it, it's called. But I don't want any red. I'm not ordering no pet. Good to see you, Classic Comics. Let's see here.
I ain't ordering no pet.
Damn pet. City Swarren. Hey.
Hello, Sid.
Good to see you, Sid. Let's see if anyone else has showed up. It'll be a tournament.
Phantom Outsider. It was cooked in butter. You put a little S&P and some really nice canola oil on it, and you make sure that you don't overcook it, and you baste it in butter. You can finish it with a little Worcestershire sauce, Lee and Parents, and a tiny bit of grainy mustard. It's good. Nom nom.
There you go. Well, there's our hello so far. Anyone else who pops in, we will acknowledge them accordingly whenever at the first available opportunity. Excuse me. I hope Hungry Boy shows up.
Hey, baby. Hungry Boy just walks through the door.
You're kidding me. You're joking.
What timing?
He's
what
like,
an entrance.
hola.
I don't see him. Oh, there he is, hungry for easier days and more sleep. I swear to God, I'm not saying that because because I saw you and just messing with you, Hungry Boy. I did not see you when I said that. I'm not even kidding. I swear. No, I didn't. I'm the kind that joke like that, but I swear it didn't happen this time.
Triple M's here too, boss.
I see it, Masters, Maniac, Mexico, my friends. Now I interrupted Mark D in the thought of something. So what did you say?
Yes, please do tell about your Irish experience.
Yeah, very nice person. So I stopped at Jersey Mike's tonight. This is not a plug. We're not sponsored by Jersey Mike's subs and sandwiches.
But
if they would like to sponsor us. So I was lazy tonight, so I got a sub for dinner for me and my daughter.
We got one of those here.
They're pretty good. Not as good as if you're at the Jersey Shore, but it's all fresh. It's good stuff. So person
slap it.
A person approached me in the sandwich shop like, you mind if I ask you a strange question? He's like, how do I get to Newport, Rhode Island? I'm waiting for the person to say like, I don't have any money. Can you give me $5 so I can buy a sandwich? That kind of thing. And it turns out it was, he's wearing a U.S. Open T-shirt. So he'd been at the U.S. Open with his family the last 3 days. And he's like, my GPS is all buggered up in the car. I paid extra for it, but it's not from the rental agency, but it's not working. And I'm trying to get to Newport, Rhode Island. It's like, how far is it? I'm taken aback, but of course I know Newport relatively well and been there a bunch of times. And there's a tennis Hall of Fame there, and so they're big tennis fans, so they're going to play at the courts there, and I guess and see the museum that's there, and and their trip there. But so we were talking for a while. It's like, yeah, the Americans. I'm like, have we been treating you pretty well? It's like, yeah, most people have been pretty nice, and but he didn't have much of an accent though. And he said it was from Dublin. I didn't want to say. I was like, is
he from the north then?
I didn't ask. I didn't want to get too personal, but I'm like, I was almost gonna say, like, where's your accent's not that bad, you know? And he'd be like, yeah, well, you have a
not that bad. Nice turn of a phrase.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he would say, well, you Yanks, and he was like, yeah, and all the names of towns around here seem like they're from England and Ireland. Like, yep, that's why it's New England. Yep, we stole all the names. So yeah, so I was just an aside there, but I had a nice conversation waiting for our sandwiches. But,
nice.
But yeah, it was, and I know you love Ireland, so I figured I'd mention that. Yeah.
Oh yes.
And what's Rhode Island known for aside from clams? Actually, Hungry Boy, clams and oysters, and so
gross.
Oh well, come on, clams are awesome. Yeah.
Sea tongues.
Oh, they're delicious when you eat them. Oh. Nice.
Nope.
Maybe I'll get a bushel this weekend. Oh, they're so good. I'll send you a picture.
A bushel and a peck, a bushel and a. Kidding.
So Hungry Boy is saying their accent's really mild Irish accent, I guess. So.
Oh, well, it's Ireland's like the Republic of Ireland and Northern Ireland are two different animals, and certainly when you hit the deep south, for some reason, it's very animated. I pitch, but yeah. So it's varied throughout the Republic of Ireland and certainly the North.
That explains it. Yep. Max says Naval War College. Is a Naval War College? I don't know if it's Naval War Colleges in Rhode Island. I went to see the U.S. Constitution. Was that in Rhode Island or was that? Let me search that.
Max Redstone, you keep your navel to yourself. You cover up now. We don't need to see your navel.
I mean, Annapolis, Maryland is where the Naval Academy is. Let's see. And they have a great comic book store there. Oh, yeah, Newport, Rhode Island. Of course, yeah, probably have been there. Yeah. Naval College. Yep. Max is correct. Yep. So, yeah, Rhode Island's very, very, I think, is it the smallest state in our great union? And but it's got some fun places to visit and some very strange accents, according relative to everyone else. If you ever heard a Rhode Islander's accent, of course they probably think we have all crazy accents. So, but yeah, proud naval tradition and sailing tradition there, of course, with the great harbors there. So.
Yes.
But so I hope the person, I know they're not listening on YouTube. I didn't tell them to subscribe to me. I'll give you directions if you subscribe to me and all my friends. But yeah, I hope they made it safe and sound, and their GPS works. So. Yeah. So.
Oh well. I mean, it's possible. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. This is not even pretend here.
Yeah.
My goodness. Well, I'll tell you what. We're just glad to be here to see you all, folks. It's we're by the way, I guess we should apologize up front for not having anything to do or give a crap about that Lord of the Rings dribble. To be the only ones not talking about it.
Yep. Oh, we got Mr. Tickle Trunk. I got to interrupt. He just gifted five Clobbering Times membership. 5, yep, five.
Why can't I see it?
Because it doesn't go through on the StreamYard side. It only go through. So I have a YouTube window open at the same time.
Wait a minute. I see super chats.
Yeah, but you don't see the gifts.
Membership
the
gifts.
membership gifts don't go through for some reason.
Okay. I thought you said 5. Okay, I thought you meant $5.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk. You're too kind. Thank you so much, sir.
And I think to enable that, you have to click that. You click on the top there in the chat, and you have to say allow gifts if you did want to be one of the lucky people that are getting one of those memberships. So if you click on the where the present is and Max's Mr. Tickle Trunk, icon is. I think you have to change it to. There's a setting where you can allow. You have to proactively allow people to give you a gift. Don't ask me why. You get spam for free on the internet, but you actually have to opt in to receive a free membership. So thank you for that, Mr. Tickle Trunk.
Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk.
Thank you so much, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Appreciate you, buddy. Just so good to see everybody here. This is my favorite time of the week. Well, I mean, although I do love, of course, I do, of course, love Saturday Night Star Trek, naturally.
Yep.
It's so much fun.
But here, this is Star Trek month in a sense, because a week from tonight is Star Trek Day, and it just so happens to fall on Clubhouse Day. Isn't that nice?
Yes.
It's awesome. Yep.
We got it one day before you, but
yeah,
you got it one day after us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we should think of some Star Trek stuff to talk about, but I guess we could knock out the tripwire crap earlier, though, if you want.
Well, I
got some Star Trek things to talk about.
Well, yeah, well, that brings up some things that some folks were talking to me about on Twitter. They were asking me some questions about what was happening with Nichelle Nichols' remains.
Okay, that's good. Go there.
And how all that gets handled. So I actually didn't do any research on it on purpose because I thought we could look up Celestis.
JT Kirk.
JT Kirk.
Hey, JT Kirk.
Together, and we could talk about it.
That's a good idea. There you go. Go for it. Just follow your lead. You have the con, number one.
All right. Hey, Mark, could you do me a favor? Could
Sure.
you please open up a web page called "How Gene Roddenberry's Ashes Were Launched Aboard the Celestis"?
Oh yeah, remember that. And
flight. Or I could just send you the link over Twits.
Or just put it in the put it in the private chat. Yeah, and I'm interrupting because Eric K, the awesome wrencher, the bronze wrencher, is gifted 5 Clobbering Times memberships.
What? Oh my gosh,
thank you, Eric K. Appreciate that, brother. And by the way, while he's doing that, did you see that thing? It's still Star Trek, number one, where that your favorite people, Memory Alpha, all launched they think they're so great because they launched a new, I guess a side site that allegedly only is for Trek canon, but they included the Jar Jar Abrams trash. But they're separating it. They think separating it from the.
I mean, it is. Wait, I have to interrupt. Crap. No. It is cannon fodder.
It's not fodder. Yes, it is.
Oh, that's the wrong canon, and that was a hapless homophone. And so now I'm sending you shin kicks for the hapless
that
homophone.
Was a gooder. That was a gooder.
It was a gooder. I take back the shin kicks. I love you.
But
homophones, joking in homophones, welcome here. Where is Scuba Pete, the prime minister, the professor, the papa of puns?
I don't know. He's busy.
Mark, I sent a link to you, a URL to you on Clubby's Clubhouse on Twits.
My interweb just got really slow. Here it is. It's coming up. Yep.
So I want to talk about this because, a lot of folks were like, what's going on? What's going on? Because Nichelle's ashes, as some of her DNA and some of her effects, if they take her to space the same way they did with Jean, will be going up with this Celestis or Celestes, I guess Americans would say. And it is this whole idea of taking everyone from Star Trek, a bit of their remains, I think it's 1 ounce, up into outer space. And I don't know the details, hard and fast. So I thought it could be something we could all explore together, asking and answering various questions and just sort of talking about this. So, all right. So here we go. And the boss says, take the con. So this is a blog for memorial space flights, okay, established in 1994. And I'm just going to quickly read this article. I've never read it before. I just skimmed it a couple of weeks back because I sort of wanted to know what was happening with it. And so I'll just go through it really quickly. So the Celestis Founders Flight launched aboard a Pegasus rocket from the Canary Islands on April 21st, 1997, was truly a pioneering commercial space mission, the first public memorial spaceflight service ever conducted. The Founders Flight garnered global attention, including front-page correspondent coverage from the New York Times, and for the first time, a crewless space mission, live global coverage on CNN. The 24 pioneering participants on the Founders Flight included space visionary Gerard K. O'Neill, fine Irishman, legendary aerospace engineer Kraft Eyrick, 60s icon Timothy Leary, and 20 other individuals from several nations, each with their own story. The mission also included one participant whose ashes were making a second trip to outer space, the iconic Star Trek creator Gene Roddenberry. In October 1992, NASA astronaut James Weatherby carried a portion of Roddenberry's ashes among his personal effects. Now, this was the only way. I know that this was the only way that they could get it up there. He had to sacrifice his own personal effects to bring it. And I think that James Weatherby is a hero for that. To orbit on board the Space Shuttle Columbia, pictured to the left, Majel Roddenberry had asked NASA Administrator Dan Golden to help her fulfill Jean's lifelong desire for space travel, and Golden approved an unofficial flight, hence the use of an astronaut's allotted personal space aboard a shuttle. Jean's Columbia flight was not announced until May 1994 by Majel at a Florida space conference, just about the time we were creating Celestis, or Celestis, as they would say in America. Like many of our customers since Celestis founding, I had been inspired by the original Star Trek series. I love the human space future portrayed in the series and the values embodied by the crew. In the crew. I've been further inspired after sharing a lunch with Jean at the Four Georges restaurant in Georgetown, D.C. on March 28, 1979, coincidentally the same day and hour of the now infamous 3 Mile Island nuclear power incident. I was employed as a research associate at Georgetown University Graduate School, working with Associate Dean T. Stephen Cheston on a NASA-funded book titled Social Sciences and Space Exploration. Steve and I were also working closely with Dr. Gerard K. O'Neill, functioning as Jerry's eyes and ears in Washington. Our NASA sponsor was Jerry's supporter, Jesko von Puttkamer, who spent much of his free time attending Star Trek conventions and cultivating support for NASA's new Space Transportation System, STS, aka Space Shuttle, throughout the Trek community. Jesko felt it important that Steve and I meet Gene Roddenberry to gain some insight into his view of the future as we were writing the book. Needless to say, the 2 hours we spent together that day made an enormous impression on me, so much so that shortly after co-founding Celestis, I reached out to my friend Lori Garver, then executive director of the National Space Society, and later NASA Deputy Administrator, seeking an introduction to Majel Barrett Roddenberry, who served on the NSS Board of Advisors. I knew that Majel's efforts to send Jean's ashes aboard Columbia and wanted to offer a similar opportunity on the Celestis founders flight, Celestis 1. Majel expressed an interest in listening to our offer after checking out the status of the startup Celestis Inc. with her friend Bobby Slayton, wife of legendary Right Stuff astronaut Donald K. Deke Slayton. Deke was my boss at Space Services Incorporated of America when the Celestis concept was first introduced in the 1980s, and always believed in the memorial spaceflight business. Deke passed in 1993, and Bobby was very supportive in the early years of Celestis. Majel agreed to take a phone call and agreed to place a portion of Jean's ashes aboard the founder's flight. She had only one condition. In the future, at the appropriate time, we would agree to fly Jean and her together on one of our voyage deep space missions. She wanted to spend eternity traveling through space with Jean. Of course, I said yes, and we agreed to meet at Vanderbilt Air Force Base when the Pegasus rocket carried out Founder's flight payload to Spain for launch was to depart. So in the end, it was lunch that provided the inspiration and the three powerful women who made the connection that resulted in Gene Roddenberry being aboard our first mission. Gene would join Jerry O'Neill and others on a mission of purpose like no other. As we approached the launch date of Celestis Enterprise flight, now this is very important, the Enterprise flight, Our first Voyager mission. I am pleased that I will finally be able to honor my commitment to Majel and launch the first family of Star Trek on an infinite voyage, joined by friend and crewmate Jimmy Doohan, and now Nichelle Nichols, right? And we know this, although this is an older article, but this explains it better than the new articles do. So that's why I wanted to read this one. There is really no more appropriate way to honor these treasured souls. And that's this is from what year was this one written? I forget.
Scroll back up. I think it was 97, of course, was the first one.
A couple of hellos, by the way. Dave.
See. Hey, hello, Dave.
Mark, Seth, and
hey,
Larry.
Mark. And Larry.
I think we said hello to Mr. Tickle Trunk, I believe.
Yes, because he's such a sweet person. So this is what I was trying to express to everyone, that there is this crazy, cool, wonderful thing that they're calling the Celestis, or Celestis, as they would say in the States. Sorry, everyone. Enterprise flight. So I guess everyone is going up together. So
nice.
Jimmy, James Doohan. But when I say they're going up together, I think it's only 1 ounce each. But I'm not sure on this. I know that when Gene was taken aboard Columbia, it was 1 ounce of his ashes. That's the official unnamed DNA. So I don't know what DNA he put up there, and then some of his personal effects. So this is where Nichelle is going. This is where Jimmy James Doohan is going. And this is where the Roddenberrys are going. They're all going up on this Enterprise flight. And I think they're actually going to stay in space this time. So it's really, really cool. And the details are super, super cool. And, you know, imagine being buried in space. Even if it's only just a part of you, but you know, we can investigate that. But like I said, guys, I think it's just 1 ounce of you, and some personal effects, and some personal DNA, whatever you want to send up. So cool.
Tyrell, what's up, Tyrell? Good to see you, my friend. Oh yeah, it's Star Trek month. I mean, we're doing the usual Clubhouse stuff. We'll talk about other stuff, but we're focusing on Trek, and of course, next week for everyone, just letting you all know. A week from tonight is Star Trek Day. It is September the 8th, and we're going to go all out. It'll be wall-to-wall Trek. Well, we'll sneak a little bit of Tripwire in there for Hungry Boy, of course, but which we'll be doing a little bit later. But yes, good to see you there, Mark. It's Terrell and everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is, I guess this must be the Enterprise flight. So they're closing the reservations in a couple of weeks, and I'm assuming this is the flight that Gene and Majel will be on there. So I guess they have.
Well, Jimmy and Nichelle will be on that one too.
And two, I guess they're adding them too. So
nice.
So you can either go to the moon or Aurora, I guess, here, which is amazing. And I guess if you go back, and then there's another one. They have one. I guess they're sending Stan Lee away. Sorry, CLOBBERIN times. Excelsior flight.
Are they?
Yeah, well, they're calling it the Excelsior flight. Yep.
And they're doing one for old Stan, are they?
Oh yeah, you get to orbit the home planet. I'm just joking about Stan, but yeah. So I guess they send. Yeah. They send you into orbit.
That's a good Stanley joke.
Yeah, they send you into orbit there. Yeah,
I'll take it.
Yep.
A Phantom Outsider. I think that's exactly what they were counting on. So when it's unnamed DNA, I don't want to say what I think it is, and I don't even want to speculate on air, although that's already a leading comment to make. But I think that was the exact idea. But the thing is that I'm curious about how this is going to be handled. So will they be tethered to some satellite? I mean, some of you have seen how awful space looks around the Earth, right? It's filled with thousands of satellites. So will they be tethering to this, and will their ashes be out there forever, their DNA samples and all this, or are they just going to cast them adrift? And if they are, it's a very interesting thing. But I wanted to get into this too, because you know, I think people are under the impression that their whole bodies are going up there, and, you know, that they're going to be, you know, cast into space, like you are when you're buried at sea when you're in the Navy. And I have read a lot of information to the contrary of that. I read an official NASA statement, I believe, last week. I would need to look it up, but it did say that it's just a few ounces of ashes and DNA and the personal effects. So that's important to you know, note. They're not taking Nichelle and Jimmy and Jean and Magel and taking them up and you know, casting their bodies adrift in these beautiful, you know, naval burials. This is something completely different. But so it's something that I wanted you all to explore and to sort of know a little bit more about as people engage in this conversation, because I think a lot of people just have a lot of assumptions about how this is going to go down. And I think the details are pretty eye-opening. It's like, wow, okay, right?
Yeah, I guess they're sending DNA like you've been mentioning. But it looks like you can send your loved one's DNA or your DNA now, I guess, if you want to do, I guess, and see what comes back with V'ger in a couple of hundred years.
1,000 years, they'll find your DNA and they'll recreate you.
Yeah.
And you'll wake up and go, huh? Where am I?
Like Woody Allen waking up in sleeper, right?
Yeah.
Where have I been? Where have I been?
Like the Silver Surfer, take Jack Kirby, indeed, Larry. But you know, Max, I hear what you were saying about the spiritual thing. Some people aren't into the whole ashes thing. I get you, but that's that was these people that chose to do that. So there you go, man.
Yep, and that's the beauty of you know, our country and our system. Yeah, if you want to take part in it, it's all, I guess it's obviously all private. It's not government funded, so it's there's got to be enough people out there that want to do it to keep us going, because the first flight was 1997, and it's actually launched that first rocket looks like it's launched from an airplane. I think it was an Earth orbit. Boy.
I don't want my DNA in space. I want my DNA in the negative zone. Still Kirby month for me. I hear you there, buddy.
Well, I don't want to get too personal, because, you know, I'm a very private person, but I'm an agnostic, and I don't know how I feel about that. I would like my whole body put out into space. You. The whole thing.
Oh yeah, well there you go. I mean,
take all my DNA, take everything.
Yeah, I hear you there, Max. I hear you, Max. That's a lot of hooey.
But I wouldn't want to be alone.
I like the way Data said it better. Hooey.
But I wouldn't want the only thing I don't like about it is once you're cast adrift, you're alone. And, you know, and I believe Socrates. You know what I mean? I'm an agnostic because I believe what Socrates said. I can't profess to know that which is unknowable.
That's why I am.
And so if we don't know what happens afterwards, I definitely don't want to be adrift in a casket in outer space.
Right. Right. But Hungry Boy, just for you, based on that lovely book that I were talking about yesterday, we'll put you in the negative zone right here with the Fantastic Four.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, Phantom Outsider. They said deep space, but then something about a solar orbiter. Like, there's all this information floating around, like, and I think that people actually think that full bodies are going up into space and all this stuff. It's why I kind of wanted to bring it up. I know this is very macabre. It's terrible to be talking about this. It's but you know, maybe it's not.
It's tracked. Well, it's
interesting. This article saying the concept of space travel can be traced to the very earliest science fiction stories. The modern concept capability was incubated during the 80s by two companies, Space Services America and Celestis Group. So, you know, I've read some old sci-fi, but that's interesting, I guess, too. You know, the old, like you said, burial at sea. If you're, you know, a ship out there, yep.
Max cracks me up. There you go, Max. It's in the year 2525, will Max Redstone still be alive? Sorry.
Well, think about it. Like, this sort of appeals to me because, you know, I'm genetically Irish, and all Irish. You know, 99% of my DNA is ethnic Irish, Southern Irish. So this whole idea appeals to me. This whole idea of, you know, this I don't know. I don't mind this idea that this naval burial kind of thing. I mean, I come from an island. People, you know, island people, I think they're more comfortable with this whole idea of being out in the water when you meet your maker. And yeah, I don't know. But it's also scary at the same time. Because, like I said, Socrates said, I cannot profess to know that which is unknowable. And if no one has ever said what happens to you after, and we don't know, then you can't make that decision. I don't want to be floating in space somewhere and I miss my family. That's silly. But is it silly? If you don't know, how can you be certain that it's silly if you don't know?
That's why I do that. I don't presume to know either way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm right where on the same page in that big time. The Phantom Outsider, however, will live for billions and billions and billions of years, as Carl Sagan would say.
Yep.
Billions and billions of years when I was just a little boy. That was Johnny Carson badly impersonating Carl Sagan.
Yeah, Carl Sagan. Look at this one from Kal-El. There's always the possibility of landing on a regenerating exoplanet.
That's my goal right there.
Right, Clubby?
That's what I plan right there.
Right, Clubby? If somebody wants to mess with my DNA and do something after, let's do that. Especially an extraterrestrial. If V'ger comes back and V'ger's like, look, we need your DNA so that we can make corporeal form, I'd be like, let's do it. Sign me up.
Yeah. Or you could be like that. No, I'm not going to reference that really terrible Capaldi Doctor Who episode, what he did to what turned Shilda into ridiculous. She was dead but living forever and ever on the universe and stuff. And what he did with Clara, never mind. Those of you who watch that show, please forgive me. For even mentioning that Garbaggio.
Well, I want to know what Ralph Cramden would have gotten. He would have gotten to the moon, Alice, to the moon.
Yeah. I hear NASA
cost him $12,500, but yeah.
I hear NASA hired him after they heard about he had this way to send people to the moon and stuff, and he worked with them for a while in the 60s.
Ooh, I don't want to be with the Decker unit. You're right, JT Kirk. That's a no. And Larry says Genesis planet. And Hungry
Genesis.
Boy says, yes. Sorry. And Hungry Boy says, first Australians, Aboriginals, for more than 50K years believed that we are born from stars and then become stars again upon death of the flesh. And this is something that comes from this idea of the universal spirit, right? So you can see this in Hinduism. You can see this in Gurbani, like, when we talk about Sikhism, this idea that the universe is God, and that you're poured out of the universe and then poured back into the universe. It's a wonderful thing to think of. And I looked at some DNA speculation of migratory patterns of where Australian Aborigines came from. And of course, they're saying, in this particular study, that they migrated from areas around India. And so, that makes perfect sense to me. And isn't it glorious? It's such a beautiful idea, and love it, love it, love it. So if I could ask the chat, would you do this? Can I ask you all this? Like, what Clobby and I would do? Clobby and I basically are on the same page. We're very interested in this idea of sharing our DNA or what's possible, but we also find it troublesome because we don't fully know what's going to happen to us. I think Mark has some religious beliefs, so I'm not going to profess to speak for him. But what do you all think? What would you do? Would you do this? Would you do a memorial space flight? Would you put a teaspoon of yourself or a tablespoon of yourself into a vial, your own DNA, and cast yourself into space? Would you do it? Would you do it? Tell me.
Go for it, Mark. I know my answer.
I probably would.
I probably would. That's so cool.
But not if it cost me $12,500. But someone offers me a free ride. I think it's kind of cool. I mean, I wouldn't send up toenail clippings like Max Redstone said, but yeah, I think a lot of the scientists that I knew and very involved with engineering and that field, a lot of the teachers said that, or people I knew said, the more they And I think that quote is something like that's attributed to Einstein. I don't know if it's 100% accurate, but the more they study the universe and how the math works, everything works together, that they felt that there was a divine presence. There's a theory behind that called, not evolution, but it's evolution, but it's what's the term they call it? Planned evolution, or
intelligent design. Honey?
Intelligent design. Thank you.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a way that if you took a religious class at school, or some of the priests or some of the people would explain, there is evolution, but it's all there's a God or a controlling force back there, and it is. You just close your eyes and think about it. You look into space, and we've got that James Webb telescope up now, and they just had the first pictures of a planet ever from another star system that we've ever been able to confirm and see. I mean, it looks like a little teeny blob. It's these, the scientists, they're experts. They can tell, to the layperson, it doesn't look like much, but it's actually the first picture. It's a gas giant, so you couldn't live on it. But it's the first pictures. Yeah. Think of another solar system. So you think of how vast the whole universe is. Why are we here? Who invented liquid soap and why?
I just want to say thank you to your Muslim uncle for the $1.99 super chat. Thank you so much. Your Muslim uncle says, hail and good evening. Hail and good evening to your good self. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, Mark Lerseth. Yes. And it was the Bering Ice Bridge.
Yep. So it's so it's just an interesting you think, why are we here? Did someone create us? Is there, where does everyone exist? I mean, I don't, that the Matrix idea that Elon Musk, talks about, we're all living in a simulation. I mean, how horrible would that be? But it just, you can't wrap your brain around it when you really think about it. So it's really, really, deep thought, which of course is the Douglas Adams, name of the computer. The deep thought.
Deep thought.
So it's really a question that's never going to be answered from philosophy, like Raquel says, until we hear back from somebody. That's the joke about time travel. It hasn't happened yet because already some certain things would be missing, maybe. But
yes,
yeah. And Max is talking about cremation, and there's different beliefs. Everyone has different belief systems. Obviously need to respect all those. And as a Catholic, for years they said you shouldn't be cremated because of the teachings. But now it seems like it's okay to be cremated. I'm not going to get into the right or wrong of that, But it's interesting the way beliefs and cultures and traditions change over time. So I guess would I send up some of my DNA, I guess, and then I guess they're kind of maybe inferring you could come back as a clone here. They're never saying that, but what happens if your DNA is found in thousands and thousands of years?
I would love that. Yeah. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah. So.
I respect what you're saying, Max Redstone. I understand for sure.
Yeah, the things that Max Redstone is saying are the little things that creep into your consciousness as you process all of the possibilities here. So certainly, regardless of belief or non-belief or whatever, these are things that human beings contemplate when they contemplate the nature of their own existence, and certainly the end of life, right?
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yep.
Or the end of life as we know it, right?
Yeah.
Indeedishness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like, a good friend, unfortunately, passed away a few years ago, and he was cremated. So I have a, I hope it doesn't sound, but people have, tiny vials, and we took him to a little bit of the remains to the place we always camped, and, had a little ceremony and sprinkled his remains there. So whenever I go there now, I think of him being there, where we were. So. Yeah, but it's all to everyone their own beliefs and what they feel is appropriate. So, and Hungry Boy, the cloning me to make a new creature would be like trying to pass off tofu as a BBQ burger.
Yeah. And not just any burger. He's saying one of your famous burgers, one of your famous barbecue burgers. So he's giving you props on your barbecue skills. That's Hungry Boy for you. Yeah, and Larry says gold symbiont. Yeah, it's definitely super interesting, and as I've connected with my heritage and my DNA, I really connected to this idea that the Irish aren't quite as afraid of death and dying as they are here in North America. In North America, we have this idea that once someone gets sick, they go to the old folks' home, or they go to the hospital. The hospital draws it all to an end, and then they go to and then they're whisked away but beyond a velvet curtain where stuff is done to their body, and then we see them on the other side, whether they're in an urn or they're buried in the ground. And so we're very disconnected from it, and we have this idea of immortality and this extended life through medicine and science. And this is very much a science fiction issue, because when I explain to people the way the Irish die, it sort of freaks them out, because you have the body in the house. You open the windows because you want the spirits to get out. You don't want the spirit to be trapped in the house, and you aren't afraid to touch your loved one's cold body, to kiss them, to hug them, and to make peace with them being gone. And then you have a wonderful party where you eat and you drink and you tell great stories and you sing songs and you celebrate that person's life. And that's an Irish wake. And that might really freak a lot of people out. But I think, just for myself, and that's obvious, that's redundant, I shouldn't say that, but I'm trying to speak from a humble place. I think that connecting with that made me feel more powerful, connecting with my roots and my culture and my ethnic background. It made me feel more powerful because of this fearlessness to embrace death, like the Irish do with Halloween, right? That's when the cold and the dark and the veil between the light and the dark meet. And so it's quite cool. But I think in North America, we've become too comfortable with letting the medicine people handle everything. And so death seems alien and terrifying, and yet we all have to do it. And so I'd like to see us connect more with that. And in that way, this is a science conversation, because science is getting us further and further away from the lived reality of our mortality. And so it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. And I want to thank you all for sharing your thoughts with us and expressing your feelings about all of this. This is a neat journey that the Enterprise is going to be on, and everyone who is aboard her. Well, the bridge crew who were aboard her. At least that's my understanding of it.
Deedishness.
Yeah, Irish wakes. Yeah, I guess if you went to one, you'd be, and you're not used to it. All different traditions. But I remember my mom told me a story about her brother. This is years and years ago. One of the old, grandfathers that died, and everyone was having a good time and talking. And he was so close to me, started yelling. He's like, "This is Grampy's funeral. Everyone shut up now and be quiet." It would just annoyed him so much as a younger kid. He was younger, but he was just so upset, of course. But then the person had lived a full long life. So, but yeah, there's all different traditions and of course you've got the allegedly Walt Disney's in a freezer somewhere, and Ted Williams and all this other it's the other sci-fi end of it. But that there have been sci-fi stories, and that you never know what technology could bring, and
that's right,
in a long time, and that opens up a lot of other ethical questions too. If you could live forever, what would happen to the planet or the resources, or that's another whole other interesting can of worms. But of course, then they had that episode in Star Trek: The Next Generation when they they revived all the people that had they died or they were near death when they were frozen, and you had the businessman who kept wanting to see what he wanted to know what his stock portfolio had done.
What's his name? And
well, that's just exactly it. Like you can't laugh. Imagine how brand new Homo sapiens felt about death. Sometimes Homo sapiens actually abandoned their children because they were just too much work, or they endangered the clan, and there was disease, and then the elderly, they would care for the elderly even though the elderly endangered the clan. And so there's this whole mix of trying to figure out the value in life, right? And how we die. Imagine how a brand spanking new Homo sapiens would feel about the way we treat people at the end of their life, or in the process of, giving up the ghost, euphemism thrown in there. And I'm sure it would seem very alien, very futuristic to them, as these machines battle to keep us alive, as these drugs battle to keep us alive. And so we're getting further and further and further away from this reality. I find it crazy that so many people are so terrified of death, and so many people will refuse to go to funerals, or refuse to go to an open casket, or to even engage at all with someone in the later stages of their life, because they're terrified and they don't know how to cope with all the feelings. And yet, like I said earlier, every single one of us has to do it with every member of our family, and then ourselves.
Look who's here.
Hey,
Minion, and
the pepperoni.
Hello.
Bum, 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 bum,
And I think she just hit 200 subs, if I'm not
Did
mistaken.
she?
I think wasn't she said a no. So let's get her channel in the chat.
Oh yes, get that
Let's
channel
see.
in there. Let's get me some subs. I hope you were safe and well out there, Paulie, and keeping both hands on the wheel. And I hope the pupper's having a good time.
Yeah, Mark, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That disconnection makes the fear even, I don't know. You know what I'm saying, Mark? It seems like the more I connect with my DNA, the more I connect with my ethnicity and my culture, the more I realize that if we weren't so afraid of death, if we also were bringing our family members into the living room when they passed away, and everyone was going to go and see the body and kiss the body and say, I love you, and then have a big party for them, I actually feel like we would fear death a lot less. I feel like we would realize it was a part of the process, and be cognizant of that, and then therefore have more vigor in our joy for life, and it wouldn't seem so monotonous or frightening, or I don't know. I think it could also add some zest, passion.
And we'll all find out, as I always say, we'll find out one day, right? When our time is, maybe. Yeah, well, yeah.
Maybe
either way.
We won't know, and we might not know one way or the other.
Yeah,
some people, right?
Yeah, but you'll know either way. Yep. So yeah, and everyone wishes and hopes that there is
28. Wow.
So
I've been to way too many before I was 28, and way too many after.
Yeah, but see, I think that's healthy. But I love what Mark is saying, because that's also been my experience with North Americans. You know what I mean? That where I live, it seems like death is so far away. And I know so many people who are in their late 20s or 30s who have never been to a funeral before.
Really?
Yeah, they don't want to do it. It makes them feel socially uncomfortable. They're frightened. A lot of people don't think it's good for their mental health. So Mark is correct here. There is a huge segment of our population. This is a bona fide phenomenon in our North American culture, where there's that disconnect. And I love that he's bringing that up, because that's also my experience. And I'd love to do a paper on that. I would love to get together with another scholar and do a survey on that, do a survey instrument on how people cope with death, and whether they think death is healthy, discussing death is healthy, or being a part of the process is healthy. So I love that you're saying this, Mark. Thank you.
Indeed is.
Thank you. Yep.
Well, it is, again, we'll treat it sort of like Star Trek month, though, here on the Clubhouse. I don't know what we're going to do for next week. We'll have to figure that out. on Star Trek
I'll
Day.
do something for Star Trek.
Is Wrath of Khan playing? Wrath of Khan is actually.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to
see that Sunday.
Jelly.
Yeah.
Jelly.
Yeah.
So I got to figure that one out because I can't. The only day I probably can go is on Sunday. Is on Thursday. Yeah, because I'm cooking a barbecue for 200 people on Monday.
On that Thursday? Yeah, it is.
It's playing on Thursday and it's playing on Sunday and on Monday. Why they shouldn't have scheduled it when I have this planned? I mean, come on.
You silly.
Who's a bigger Wrath of Khan fan than me?
I don't understand why they didn't make it in June because that was the real.
That was the anniversary. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, inconceivable. But
inconceivable.
They should have switched that around from when the time when they did that motion picture thing because that's coming up.
Yeah,
the big release of that 4K and all that stuff. They should have made that in September and made Wrath of Khan in June, but they don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah.
And is this a big movie weekend, Labor Day? Is it? Or
no? I mean, I'll never keep up with that stuff anymore. So I don't know.
Yeah, don't people want to go to barbecues and not not be in the movie theater?
Much, yeah, I know. See, even though it's been like 6 years since I used to do it for 20 some odd years straight, so it still kind of feels weird. This weekend coming up was always Labor Day weekend was always my weekend to go to Dragon Con, make a big trip of it, and now I'm not doing it anymore, but it still feels. I've done it since 2016, and yet it feels still like, oh, Dragon Con this way. Oh no, I'm not going. I'm like, oh well.
Not going. Yeah, damn it. But sometimes you don't want to schlep somewhere, but then when you get there, you have a lot of fun. I got to pack. I got to get all the, just being lazy. That's human nature.
It's
but then when you get there, then you're like, oh, this is great. I'm so glad I'm here. And then Chris is asking, do we all get an invitation to this roast pork shindig for 200 plus inquiring minds and stomachs?
Well, if you don't use it.
Well,
Someone send a plane ticket to Hungry Boy.
Yeah, if you're in Connecticut, let me know. Message me. We'll get you in. Yep.
Yeah.
But so it's a fun tradition. We have a swim club. The kids swim and they do swim meets.
What, in the barbecue sauce?
Yeah, in the barbecue sauce. Yeah, so it's a swim club.
Swim
so it's
in
like
barbecue sauce? You could.
Yeah, you could. Yeah, then you drink it in. Yeah, drink it in. But so it's like a family. It's a family. Family club. And then at the end of the year, then it closes this weekend, which is very, very sad because that means summer is pretty much over, and we're gonna have to put the motorcycles away in a few months, and it's gonna get cold here. So
we got summer till December. So
yeah, you guys.
You're so lucky. I took all of my pansies and put them in the green bin, and I put out all of my fall flowers yesterday.
I hate it.
That's tough. Yep. BT Kirks can't wait for Pooh, Blood, and Honey to come out.
Yeah.
You guys saw that, yeah, because Pooh is in the public domain now. Not the Disney version of Pooh, the art, those sketches, but the original.
Yeah, the Berry, the book.
Yeah.
The book is actually public domain now. Finally, so someone's making a horror movie called Blood and Honey.
What?
With Pooh and Piglet. Yeah.
Get out of here.
You want to see a picture of it?
Get out of here!
Oh,
Come on.
Yeah, what
the heck?
Disturbing.
I don't think
Raquel wants to see that picture personally.
Well,
I haven't seen that picture, but
it's not that.
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I'm guessing
here's
a horror movie that's not going to be pretty.
No, well, the pictures aren't that bad on the posters.
Yeah,
it's just why not? It's
all right.
It's what we do at the clubhouse. We do
all right, Mark
things,
Newman.
Yeah. And this is you can blame JT Kirk. Yeah. And I'm a huge Pooh fan. I mean, I love Pooh.
Lee Oliver.
Disturbing. Nice comment.
Very disturbing. So it's in public domain.
Come on, F off.
That's terrible.
That's stupid. Why are they doing that to Winnie the Pooh?
That's ugly.
Because they can. That's why.
That's true.
No.
They can.
And what about Piglet and Eeyore? What about
Piglet isn't
Tigger?
there. Piglet's there.
Come on, that's dumb.
Yeah, Piglet was there. Yep. He looks like a big hog, though.
Whomever did this needs to be flogged.
Shin kicked or flogged?
No, flogged. Publicly flogged. Pilloried and flogged. Naked.
Metaphorically speaking, of course.
What if they love to be musical?
No, not metaphorically speaking. Just full on. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I do not advocate any type of violence.
DJ Ronnie J. Hello, welcome.
DJ
friend.
Ronnie.
So yeah, I guess whoever did this is a moron. I mean, in other words, if it were like there was a setup as a joke poster for a movie, it's funny. But if they're really making the movie, it's like, what is wrong with you?
Insane.
I wonder how it'll do. Yeah, it might,
It's gonna. You're insinuating that it's going to get an actual wide theatrical release or something?
I guess it will. I mean, they got masks out for Halloween already, and it looks really scary. But
Max, let's not flug them. You know what we should do, Max? Send Rover after them. Just that's what we need to do. Send Rover after those people.
Absolutely, isn't. Well, that's pretty silly stuff, folks.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I'm like poof. I used to tape the cartoons in the morning, and then we'd watch them at night. A couple of friends that would like Winnie the Pooh, as adults, and we'd watch them like Saturday night drinking beers. We'd watch Winnie the Pooh cartoons. So, yes, the strange. You mean the
old movie or the old?
No, the new stuff. The New Adventures of Winnie. Well, back then it was in the '90s. It was the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
Bad people! Attack!
See, they heard you. They saw you with your damn horror movie, and boom,
boom. Yeah.
It's all your fault. No kidding.
It's always the engineer's fault.
Yep. We love to change things. Yeah.
Tripwire ain't looking so bad now, Clubby?
Since we're already terrorizing people, we may as well terrorize Hungry Boy.
Yeah. Let's see what number is up. Yep.
I got two. They got two this time. I'm sorry to say for you, Hungry Boy. Well, they're not bad. Well, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just going to go ahead and find them here for you.
Just put them up.
Do our Tripwire segment. Unless you got something. Well, we can get back to do whatever, anything important after this. We'll just get this out of the way. How about that? Is that okay?
For it,
boss.
All right. Hungry Boy, are you there?
Plug your ears, Hungry.
He said, Hungry Boy, Tripwire ain't looking as bad now, Clobby. After you, Mark. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Sorry
for traumatizing everybody.
No, poor Hungry Boy. Oh, fab.
Oh, all right. But those who do not know, that is so-called. It used to be an actual, hard copy magazine, but now I think it's just on the website, like many magazines, right? Called Tripwire, a pop culture mag, a British one, if I'm not mistaken. And for the past year or so, a good while back, they've been doing this thing called the 101 greatest comic artists of all time, and doing it on a weekly basis. When we saw it, it was like in the 60 something or other, and since then, of course, I did a show where I recapped all they had, and each week we've been keeping up with it on the Clubhouse, each entry that they've got. And in my probably meaningless opinion, but it's opinion nonetheless, I dare say learned opinion when it comes compared to these people anyway. Let's just say it, I don't like the order. How about that? The order, the placement is highly not again, the personnel is not all that questionable. The placement is the problem. How about that? Oh, who's saying something? What? And the children shall read
directly
really
towards you.
Use a Winnie the Pooh CGI into the stuff.
Oh, that'd be cool. All right. Maybe I'll do that.
Okay. Well, all right, everyone. Mark has earned this since you've all said so. Here we go.
Your agonizer, please.
No, Mr. Spock.
So I thought they'd like that. Give them something to cheer them up, since scared the hell out of them. First we talked about death, then we showed a murderous Winnie the Pooh. What the hell?
Oh, bother. No.
But hey, and then all on a night where everyone's having something they love, like Lord of the Rings being ruined.
Well, at least we have. At least we.
Clubby?
Wow.
At least we still have Shulky. Thank God.
At least we have Beavis and Butthead. That's still really funny. I love the new one. Okie dokie, then here we go. So anyway, my friends, so Tripwire's latest, they have 2 entries this week. And they happen to be both two of my favorite artists, and I think just a little bit on the low side here. So at number 23, we have freaking Barry Windsor Smith at 23.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
well, look, put to you like this. I want to know 22 better than him. That's just that's prejudice on my part because I have him. Let's see. Where do I have him on the list that's way better than their stupid list, even though it's, well.
That's the Wolverine effect.
Hmm?
Well, it's a Wolverine effect, right? Barry Windsor Smith with in terms
Okay,
of get him that high up on the list. Yep.
All right, on my list, I have, because he's one of the greats, I have Barry Windsor Smith at number 11. And last week they had Alex Ross at 24. I have him at 16.
So you have your own list. You have your own.
I have a list. Mark C and I did this a couple years back. Hey, Maddie's daddy. Right? So here we go. Look, Barry Windsor Smith, who started out as Barry Smith, and he was a Kirby clone when he started in the 60s. Decepticon, what's up? So again,
hey, Sean.
Hungry Boy, I don't know what you think of Barry Windsor Smith, but I think he's one of the greats. Now, the only thing you might be able to ding him on a little bit is volume, as far as when you put him on a list like this, because he did do a lot more of interior than somebody like Ross, but I mean, he did a pretty good, I think, a good interior work. I mean, volume of interior work, not compared to some people, but he's one of the all-time greats. And he started, like I said, as a Kirby clone, like a lot of people in the 60s and 70s. And he was named Barry Smith. And you look at any comic like Barry Smith, and you go, wow, it's just Kirby, right? No, it's just he's drawing like Kirby.
Well, they told him to do that, right?
And he came over from across the pond, kind of drawing similar like that anyway. It was kind of his idea, but then they stand, and everybody at the editorial said, well, good, draw like Kirby. That's what we tell everyone to do anyway. So if you look at this stuff, it's him drawing like Kirby. You'd think Kirby almost. Yep. And then he just, all of a sudden, I mean, he started to, when he started, he was still Barry Smith for a short time on his brilliant Conan run. Why is this thing good? But.
Yeah, you'd look at that, you'd say, that's Kirby. You know, if you didn't know, you'd say, well, Kirby.
And then Conan. Well, of course, he and Roy Thomas combined to bring Conan into the spotlight as a comic book character, and later, which led to Conan's really big popularity. And his art just transformed overnight, really. It seems like overnight.
Yeah, because that style is nothing like the early stuff.
Yeah, classic comics. That's that right. Again, I think his output isn't small either, but compared to some guys. But yeah. Now, like you put there, you got Michael Golden. That was not, not a big output like Smith, but you got Jim Steranko that didn't have a gigantic output of interiors at all, but he's going to be on this list pretty high probably. So Barry Windsor Smith at number 23, I'm kind of not too. I think he should be higher.
Some of his stuff I didn't like, though. I have to say,
I didn't like his X-Men as much.
Yeah,
I hated Punk Storm.
The Forge,
the creator, but I liked his Valiant stuff. Of course, you got his X Factor, which people liked.
Well, the Marvel Comics Presents stuff with Wolverine was massively huge, but I didn't like the art that much on that.
I like his theme story.
So, like, that art is better, but I didn't like something about the Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine.
I like his Machine Man stuff.
Oh, that was a good one, yeah.
And I love his Solar Man of the Atom. I mean, it was just. He's one of my favorites. I mean, so I got him at 11. That's how much I love his work. And I mean, nothing could probably touch his Conan stuff, but I love this Archer and Armstrong, which they didn't have a picture from it here. And I bought every issue. I got every issue of the Barry Windsor Smith Storyteller, including there were supposed to be 12. They only ended up with 9, and I got the slipcase. It was supposed to all fit in the slipcase, but 3 books never came out. It was much bigger than a quality format, and a much close to treasury size almost.
Well, that stinks. So, they didn't come out with the rest of the books. Yeah.
So Barry Windsor Smith, again, too low. I mean, I can't imagine who they're going to put above him. But still, he's on the list as we knew he would be. And now, Number 22. Bop, 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 bop. Hang on. All right, here we go. 22. Now, this one, another one of my favorites. Number 22 is Al Williamson. I got him at my 23, so this is fine. But it's only because I love some other ones a little bit more. I could have him a lot higher. But at some point there's placement. So I'm pretty much fine with this, and I love Al Williamson. Come on, damn it.
Not working.
Site's slow. Yeah, it's slow.
Computer.
Hello, computer.
I was just going to do that. You beat me to it. Do you need elevator music?
No, I'm good. I found Tripwire needs an elevator, but all right, here we go. So, Al Williamson definitely deserves to be where he is, I think. And he's just one of the all-time greats. Hungry Boy, let's see what Hungry Boy has to say, by the way. So we're not really torturing you tonight, Hungry Boy. But Hungry Boy, BWS is a rare example of someone who could equally render a lot, yet shell out. Great layout, yes. Indeedishness, I love him. Williamson is another ink line finesse guy, so I'm happy for once. I love Williamson. Williamson, though, thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. I'll say this about Williamson. He's not much in the way of so much a cartoonist. He's more of a he reminds me of Alex Raymond, kind of a stagnant storyteller. Picture, or Hal Foster, a picture maker. He doesn't really use sequential art as much, but I love him. I love Al Williamson. Of course, he was a good inker too later. But anyway, let's take a look. And I love his Flash Gordon, of course. Other than Al, he's the second greatest, in my opinion, Flash Gordon artist after Alex Raymond. Come on, damn it. Come on. Site's being a jag off. What's wrong with you?
Tripwire knows that we don't like him usually.
Yeah. I never got to meet Al Williamson, damn it. I love his stuff. He had more of a comic strip feel because he did a lot more comic strips than he did comic books, but
yeah, it's a fan. I'm saying, does Williamson rank over Adams, Perez, and Kane on your list, Clobbering Times?
Huh?
Does Williamson rank over Adams, Perez, and Kane?
No, I've got him at 23 on my list.
Yeah.
Adams and Kane, and no. Williamson was more of an illustrator. Yes, Clobbing. Yes, there you go. Yeah, I love his Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, I love his Empire Strikes Back adaptation. The Star Wars stuff, of course, the Star Wars strips. His Empire, oh man, he's one of the greats. Again, he could easily be higher on my list. So they got him at 22. That's definitely respectable. He's one of the greats. He was I love his Star Wars strip. He was very prolific. This is a guy that was very, very prolific. But to me, my favorite of his, of course, is the Flash Gordon work. But like I said, I love the Star Wars stuff. But this is beautiful right here. It's one of my favorite pieces by him. So, see, I was just teasing you tonight, Hungry Boy. No terrorizing you at all. We will not know. Who knows what will be next week, but.
Hey, Milne.
That is your Tripwire for this CLOBBY'S Clubhouse edition. So not too bad. How about that? Hungry Boy? See, I was just messing with you, man. You're fine.
No cries of anguish heard across the galaxy. Yeah.
Does Al rank over Perez and Kane on your? Oh no, man, no, dude. Are you kidding me?
Why is he asking that? I think he's asking that sarcastically.
Yeah. Perez and Kane and Adams are all like top fivers for me. Spoiler alert. So yeah. One day I'll just, of course, I had so much fun doing that show with Mark C about it. So.
Well, that's what's wrong with the list, right? And that's, as you were saying, Hungry Boys mentioned before. You didn't think some people should have been on the list, but mainly it's your problem was the order of how this is ordered, more than
Yeah.
yeah.
JD Lewis, what's up, bud? Yep, I am consoled, but it's the flowers and candy before the next face punch. Oh dear, oh dear. Well, what? Anybody else got anything going on in this nice month? I will say. Well, I'll recap a little bit until you both, unless you guys got something. I will say that
I did get a couple of
okay. I'll do
boys yesterday, but
while
no,
you're getting that ready.
Yeah.
I'll just say I want to thank everybody again for making Jack Kirby month so special. I'm gonna miss it. I always get a little remorse after Jack Kirby month ends. I had a fantastic time. Thanking Jack and celebrating Jack, and and we always will celebrate him here, not just in August. But the King will always be celebrated here, So just a little quick tribute to Jack Kirby month with some of these silly pieces of pictures I made. But it was a lot of fun. And I can't wait till it rolls back around again. So, great stuff. And what you got there, Cap?
Well, of course, the new movie is out, Super Pets, right? So, of course, I'm in CVS, and we're picking up something with the wife and my daughter, quick. And I'm like, oh, look, buy one, get one half price. She's kind of rolling her eyes, like, what are you buying now? I'm like,
oh my God.
But I got it. She's just looking at me like I married this big kid, which she did. So here, let me change my camera to the other camera here. So that's just a cute. I like buying all these little, small little items. It's so it fits in the room. But here,
thank you, Hungry Boy. Appreciate you.
So here's the
that's true. That's true. JD Lewis. It's a fun fact that Al Williamson was Kurt Swan's favorite inker. Now it's him to say, but I actually like Murphy Anderson a little bit better. But I did like Williamson on Swan. That's just me. Donnie Pearson, hello there, welcome.
This week on Hoarders, Mark B with a C.
Oh my God, dude!
I mean, how could I walk by this? And it was half, buy one get one half price. So I had to buy two
in front of the other. What's
Did
that?
Did you see this?
Mark, I'm rolling my eyes for your wife as well.
Come on, how cute is this, right? Super Pets, age 3. See, it says age 3+.
Well, there you go. It's close enough. I mean, I love Crypto, so that's fine. But he has a ship. I love him.
So the other tour they had was Crypto and the spaceship coming to Earth, but I thought this was it's got it. Yeah, I got to have the Superman mobile. So
he's got a Supermobile. I'll allow it.
Yeah. So do they say? Oh, they don't show the other vehicles, but
is that the only one you got?
Oh no,
you
had to buy two. I think it was.
Oh, that's right. Two.
Yeah, you buy. It was $6, I think, or $7. Nothing's. There's no $2 Matchbox cars anymore, unfortunately.
No.
But, and of course, you've got Ace with his awesome bat.
Ace the Bat Hound, love him.
Look at
Have
that.
you seen that movie?
Cool. I haven't seen it yet. I guess is it on free
it.
this weekend, or is it's on free?
Where?
I think it might be. I don't know if it's coming out. You know how originally it's in the theater and then they start to stream. So I don't know if it's streaming for free soon or.
I guess it'll be HBO Max or something. I don't know. I'll watch it.
Yeah, it'd be fun to watch with my niece, or if I had my kids weren't off in college. It'd be a fun movie to watch with them. But come on, that's I saw that. I'm like, God damn, that's they gotta get this right. Can't leave the toy aisle without that. Yep.
Well, you've done your good deed for the day, though.
Yeah. So Ace found a good home. Crypto found a good home.
I have no idea what that is.
What is?
Ace the Bat Hound. That's Batman's dog, and
Batman's
Crypto
dog.
the Super Dog is Superman's dog.
Oh.
Superboy, then Superman. Yeah. And they have a new movie out called Super Pets. It's a kids movie about the doggies and stuff, and they have Superman and Batman are actually in the movie, but it's about the pets. So, and because I love Crypto, I would probably watch that thing just to see if they.
And you would have bought these too if you were in CVS as well, right?
Probably.
It might,
I'm
maybe.
not so sure. I wouldn't.
Another
I
thing
could neither confirm nor deny that.
since we're doing vehicles, I mean, you probably have this, I'm sure. You know, you got
No, but
a
I haven't
thing
seen that.
cycle.
Oh my! Wow.
Thing's got a
man. When'd you get that?
I don't remember.
Hey,
it's old.
Ezra Goldstein, welcome. Good to see you, my friend.
It's probably the 90s. But I was in the basement today, and I was like, well, I can't leave this in the basement. I got to show this. So this is in my basement collection. So yeah, they have all these vehicles, which are ridiculous. But this is cool, though.
Ride that.
He'd squash it, but this is pretty. The graphic is pretty cool, I think. Yeah. So.
Looks like they used almost like close to a burn looking drawing for him.
They have a year on there. I can't see, but yeah, no, it's pretty. And the tank is pretty cool there. So yeah, what is the thing we need with the motorcycle? But
excuse me, what does thing need with the Starship or a motorcycle?
So it's a Triumph. Yep,
it's one of those crotch rockets too.
Yep.
Not like even a cool badass like Harley or something.
Yeah, no, he would. So this is so he's gonna race crypto and Ace. See who wins. Oh, don't fall over, Ben.
There you go.
Gotta get that
cool stuff. I'm glad you bought something. I'm always glad that you bought stuff. You're out there buying stuff.
You gotta spend something. We gotta keep the economy going, right?
Yes. So. Indeed it is. But I saw this thing. I'm going back to Star Trek a little bit, and I don't know what the deal is, but like I mentioned earlier, they think that it's your favorite Memory Prime or Alpha Prime. What is it? Memory Alpha? That's right.
Memory Alpha, yeah.
But they're doing some like a separate site that supposedly they're calling it. See, it's the prime timeline, but they're including Jar Jar Abrams trash in it and separating it from STD and all that other crap. So what? You totally miss the point when you're doing that. If you want to do one that is real canon Trek, then you can't have that garbage.
It's an alternative universe at the very least. I mean,
so why bother?
Well, I think that would be obvious, right? Whenever stuff like this happens, it's not because of virtuousness. It's not because somebody a light bulb goes off. Ting! I don't think that that's the case here. I think it's definitely that numbers go down, and that's probably the case. I mean, the site is garbage now, right? It's just absolute garbage. And IMDb isn't any better. This is what happens when you have these user-generated sites where anybody can add whatever they want. And there is an authorial voice involved in crafting these types of encyclopedias or well, for lack of a better term, that's what it is, right? It's an encyclopedia. And if the authorial voice says, it all goes in, then it all goes in. And so I think people just stop turning to it for information because it's all coming from the filth. So to me, I feel like they're getting what they deserve, Globby.
Oh, absolutely. I just don't understand why I even bother. Just why waste the energy? But yeah, I hear you. Dad, what's up, buddy?
I don't know, but I mean, I can speculate. It could be because numbers are down. I mean, they don't usually proactively, duplicate information or duplicate a site. It's usually reactive. It's not proactive, but reactive. So I would speculate based on, this is pure speculation, but I would speculate that it's due to the fact that the numbers are down and people aren't sharing that information anymore. And it's because the information is garbage, and it's really important too for people to realize that when you're in this ephemeral environment and everyone is adding their opinions into these online encyclopedias and it's all user generated, there's no vetting happening there, and that's why even when Clobby and I are talking on Saturday Night Star Trek, he and I are always talking about the various angles that these actors and actresses and production people and directors and people involved with Star Trek, their own take, their own ideology, their own take, because they're constantly adding that to the spin, aren't they, Clobby? Like you can't just look at something George Takei says and say, oh, well, that's a fact. And you can't look at something that Armin Shimmerman, which is anglicized, is obviously Shimerman, right? Because it's one M, not two. What he says, because they're all speaking from their personal experience, and these are anecdotal things that they say. Like when he asserted that he was the first Ferengi, it's not true, but yet he says it. And the more and more we see this, the more and more we're just seeing it turn into a big slurry of garbage that no one can use anymore. It's not a source anymore.
I just wanted to say, sorry, I wanted to, before he got out of here, if he hasn't already, Chris Percher's on the run.
Oh,
take care, Chris.
Good night, honey. I love you.
Good night, sir.
Mwah. Thank you for everything.
Thank you for your
have
graphics.
An early one. Need to watch that which must not be mentioned. I wonder what he means. Under Article 23, subject. The CLOBBY rules and regulations for Starfleet personnel. Take care, all. Thank you, Chris Percher. Thank you, buddy.
Love you, honey.
I think I know what he means.
Yeah, we could. He could get one of those mind wipe things maybe after he watches it if it's that bad, like from Men in Black.
Well, yeah, but he's involved with those big streamers and those big streaming channels, and so he's got to be on his toes and know what he's talking about. As the thousands of people who are involved in those chats are whizzing on by, he's got to know what he's talking about. So it's basically his show prep.
He has to inform himself on that one. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it, buddy. Sorry, I guess it's only showing like one out. Are they dropping like one a week or something? Are they dropping the whole thing? I'm
not sure. Do you know that Gary guy that you guys all follow, the Nerdrotic guy?
He reviewed it last night.
He put up on my feed, I get different people that are liking things because you don't really control your feed anymore, right? Your feed is a whole new animal with a new algorithm. Yeah. Someone in my friend group liked this post made by Gary, and Gary showed something that Gary Buechler, I think his last name is. He showed something that was very interesting. He had a screenshot where the first episode of that which shall not be named was not available anymore, but the second one was. And if that's real, could you imagine if they went back and did editing and changed it?
What happened was last night around the country, there were theaters allowing, if you made you don't have to pay for the ticket, but you have to pay some kind of concession thing, and you can go watch the first 2 episodes.
Oh, like in the theater?
Yes.
Yeah,
cool.
Paulie and Chris Bohr, Gore. See, they kept saying Chris Gore. I love Chris Gore. I wasn't calling him that to be mean. They both said they were bored. Anyway, they went and they did an after stream. Or they went after viewing little live stream outside of the theater. He did later on Chris Gore's Film Threat channel, and he's a cool dude. They reviewed it, both the 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. So I guess that must mean they're releasing them one at a time.
But why isn't the first one available? Can somebody bring?
Oh, it's available right now. I'm on the site that shan't be named, and it's available to watch now.
Did you see that post by Gary?
Mm-mm.
I wish someone could show that again, because it appeared in my feed, and I was like, because you guys all know that I'm constantly talking about this, where they're going to go back and they're going to insert commercials, stealth commercials, insert commercials in retro television to try and make more money off of it. They're going to go back and tweak shows that people don't like, and sort of massage them in a direction where people will like them, or they'll get rid of mistakes. And so I was very intrigued when I saw that screenshot where the first episode was no longer available. Let me see if I can find that screenshot, because that was very, very interesting.
Well, the two episodes are available right now. I'm
looking at Gary's feed right now.
Season 1 has 1 star and 1 rating. Now I don't know how that's possible, that it has 1 star and 1 rating showing. So, I mean, considering all the thousands and thousands of people watching,
I see it now.
Do you see it now, boss?
Right, someone circled it. It must have been some kind of mistake, because Gary's just laughing at it, but it says someone that says "A Shadow of the Past," which is the first episode, right? It's circled, says this video is currently unavailable, and it's got the second one on there.
Yep.
Mark? Did they release them all? Are they doing it?
The first two are out right now. I can watch the first two.
Okay, the first
two. I can see in the United States.
I just think it's interesting that with these streaming services, if we don't like something and there's another cut, or they can massage things. Like, do you remember when they were all watching the show that George R.R. Martin wrote? Well, he wrote the books, and then they did the show, and there was a Starbucks cup in it. How that got fixed, and so they can actually, like, in real time, change these shows on us and fix these shows on us, and it's basically like gaslighting us, because we're never on a go forward basis. It's likely we're never going to see the same episode we originally watched. There's going to be so much post editing as we react, as we discover errors, as we mention things we don't like, as the public reacts to it. It's so weird, because now these movies, these shows, it's not going to be a finite process. Dolly wore braces, right?
Yep. Yeah. By the way, that was a glitch, because apparently they got it straightened out.
Okay, good. Yeah. But you can see why my interest was piqued. I was like, sure. What's going on here?
I mean, taking a Starbucks cut doesn't bother me nearly as much as, because the director obviously would have wanted that in there. But then when they gave Daryl Hannah the hairy ass, quote unquote, and Splash,
that was
cover
terrible.
her up, it looked even worse, and then it drew attention to it.
Yeah,
it was just so hysterical. But that's why I love physical media. But physical media is going to go away eventually, because they're just gonna stop it. I mean, they're going to reach a point where that next generation is not buying it. My kids, I'm picking on them, but for the most part, my daughter buys a few vinyl records, but for the most part, they're totally digital. They don't buy their games on disc anymore. They get gift cards and download their games. And I think that next generation, you're going to have, it's the outliers that like physical media, I think. And then eventually, and the studios can make more money off of digital, because then they can, when I go away someday, or my account gets lost, or what happens, all those purchases, quote unquote, if I did have digital purchases, those all disappear, right? What happens when you're gone, right? We're talking about, earlier in the show, what happens, sending your DNA into space, what happens to your digital footprint and what you've left behind digitally. Mm-hmm. And all those things, all the music albums and everything.
Transhumanism, baby. Transhumanism.
Yeah. But then it's all gone, right? Then all those purchases, like whenever I buy a DVD, it has, the code you can put in to get the digital copy, right? So what happens to all those movies that you own? So digital is much better for commercially. And then, like you said, they could just go, if something becomes problematic, they can just change it, and you'll never know. And it'll be like a Twilight Zone episode.
It will.
And you won't know what happened.
And it's really super creepy. And the fact that we're aware of it on the other end, not that it was stated and that it's a worry, but that we're aware of it on the other end, means it's already in full swing. And so well, I'm glad that it was just a little glitch there, but that sort of worried me, because the first thing I thought is, oh my goodness, as soon as I get off with Clobby and Mark, I'm going to go and do some research and find out what happened. What was the objectionable content that the corporation went back and said, no, cut this out, or clip this out, or smudge this, or insert this. I was really thinking that was happening, because that's happening.
Yeah. Or maybe they made it better. No.
Yeah. Right. And that's the thing, that's the crazy thing about this, is you could go and you could do an entire review of it, and it could be entirely different, and they can continue this on an ongoing basis. Imagine if what's that movie that Andy, my husband Andy and Clobby like?
Tombstone?
Well, bye.
Tombstone.
Imagine you're watching Tombstone, and there are a whole bunch of like retro ads in it, and then you go back to it and there's another set of retro ads in it, or like Escape from New York or something, and there are the old Coca-Cola ads, and it gets switched to Pepsi and so on and so forth. It's mind-boggling that they're going to be able to do this, and I don't think people realize the potential in it for advertising dollars, and also for changing our pop culture and basically gaslighting us. That's not what you saw. I'm sorry, that's not what you saw. Did you think you saw that? You didn't
No,
see
you're
that.
crazy. Yeah. Well, that's what they're talking about, actually having ads someday as you walk around. They'll do facial recognition and figure out your demographics just by your clothes, your race, your sex, and then the billboards will change relative to who they think you are.
Right.
And I mean, on some hand, it's kind of creepy, but on the other hand, I don't want to get too many advertisements for Star Trek Discovery either. So, I mean, it can work in a positive fashion as well. So, if you do get ads that you're interested in, I mean, they're there to, the reality is, and you've talked about it too, these shows are there to make money and to get you to buy widgets. So it's not, it's not the artwork of the show or the craft so much. So, and thank you for nuking the bots there. Yep.
Larry for $5. Thank you so much, Larry. Appreciate you. Streaming services can edit and censor anything they have at any time. If you plug in your DVD Blu-ray player to the internet, they can censor any disc.
Yeah.
Wow, that's ugly. That's
awful. They could make it so you couldn't play a disc. Yeah, because it's they can change the firmware now. So my understanding is DVD.
Donnie, no problem. You're cool. Good. You can speak Power Ranger all you want, my friend. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's forced obsolescence. And that forced obsolescence is scary because it means no means in which anyone can play the physical media. So it's not just a matter of, grip your VHS cassettes tightly. It's also the fact that, essentially that's rust, right? That's the technology you're talking about, tape and rust, and your machine. You really have to care for your machine, and you really have to care for your physical media because, they won't always be creating the machines that are able to play these artifacts, these cultural artifacts, right?
And plus, the DVD doesn't have an infinite shelf life either, so that's the problem. So, as Larry's saying, and people are saying, you back it up to a hard drive or somewhere else, but then you've got to be vigilant and make sure you have your, I have a NAS has all my stuff backed up on it, which is a network attached storage for those of non-geeks out there. Yeah. And it's got multiple hard drives. So if one of the hard drives goes, you can change live, while the thing is running, you just pull the bad hard drive out and put a new one in. So I always keep a couple of hard drives around. But you could also lose, you could lose that stuff digitally too. And especially if you have the DVDs that were writable, those have a much less of a shelf life too. So, I've got a ton of those, but I don't know how much longer they'll last. So that's the scary thing. So is that, they can just, change it. Now there's a ton of people out there that are backing things up, I'm sure, digitally, but it's as
Zathras.
Hey, Zathras.
Crap. Larry, yeah, I'm not aware of any technology in which if you were to put your DVD or your CD into your computer or into a player that it could be rewritten or erased on the other end. I'm not aware of any technology where that can transpire.
But what happened originally with DVDs, that a kid cracked the code, and famously they put the encryption code they were selling on T-shirts because it was banned. It was considered with the DMCA. And of course, they didn't think that anyone could ever crack the code. I think it got cracked by that young kid I'm mentioning. With if you search it, within a few days or something. So every DVD forever was, it all had the same encryption. So Blu-rays, what they had done, they have a, as was mentioned in the chat, they have a firmware. They can update your Blu-ray player. And they can change the encryption codes and mess around with it digitally. Because they want to protect their IP. And then at one point they'd actually had I remember DVDs that you could play, and then they would self-destruct, aka Mission Impossible. If you choose to accept this mission, and they were you would activate the DVD. I'm trying to remember the name of it. Some of the chat might remember it, and it would literally after like 48 hours you couldn't play it anymore. Needless to say, that didn't go very far, but. Yeah. It's kind of a crazy.
But somebody
ideas.
but somebody who has a DVD player right now that they bought in, let's say, 1998 or 2001, and they have it plugged in with analog cords into their television, and they're playing, Pan's Labyrinth on it. There's no way for the corporations to reach into your little analog DVD player and erase Pan's Labyrinth. Let's not mislead folks as far as that goes, right?
Yeah, yeah. They can't reach out and
no
and zap it. Yeah, zap
yes.
it from here.
And I just want to make that clear because I don't want anyone to be misled as far as that goes, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
your
oh, there we go. Something went
your
wrong.
Wrath of Khan
What? I was having trouble with
is just fine.
Oh yeah, no one can mess with you. They get me worried there for a minute there. Larry,
and then someone mentioned in the chat, I guess TMP is coming. Is it coming out this week on physical media? I'm trying to remember who mentioned it. The actual, the motion picture HD is that the actual discs are coming out.
4K, yeah, but that's too expensive for my blood. Oh my god, that's ridiculous.
I think someone, I can't remember who. I apologize, I can't remember who mentioned that in the chat now. But
yeah, too rich though.
Yes, Larry, the internet connection can change the playback. Yes, it can. And they're doing that by changing the physical means and the software in which to read the discs. Yep. So it's a matter of what will play and how it will play. Absolutely.
Wow.
Oh, Kal-El had sent me a link. Oh, sorry, CLOBBERIN. Sent me a link on this memory. This is actually kind of sci-fi stuff. If I could show this, store nanostructures in glass will store data. This is kind of sci-fi-ish. So thank you for sending that. Talking about how much data you could store. So talk about living forever. So we won't play the YouTube video, but I'll put the link in. And I guess you could with optics. Wow, this is amazing. And this is kind of Star Trek type science here. And, of course, Star Trek had those discs, right, that were in the tricorders. And so you can imagine that would be like a tricorder disc with all the data in there. So 72 million photos, wow, 360 terabytes of data capacity per disc. Stability up to 1000 C. That's incredible. Could you imagine? And my first computer had 4K. So that's just mind-boggling having 360 terabytes on a disc like that.
Thing is no one will ever look at any of them.
Don't tell me that. All my photos that I take, no one's going to look at them.
Yeah. Well, that's the fact, right? When we talk about social science, we have to be honest. Rather than when things are physical and they take up physical space, and it occupies our visual physical space, we interact with those things. And when they're stored away, people don't interact with them. So, the only time you interact with your photos is when they're on the social media platforms. And if you are somebody who has 72 million photos, and you're storing it all up, and you're hoping that people will be looking at pictures you took of inanimate objects in 2008, I'm here to tell you that
damn,
they're not going to. No one is going to look at your photographs of flowers on your trip to Banff. No one cares.
Yeah, but Raquel.
Hey,
Nerat.
Hey, Nerat. What about my trip to Target that I took every toy in the toy aisle?
No. Good God, he took a picture of every single toy that existed in the history of the universe at Target last. We were teasing him about that because I'm like, dude, you must have been there for 3 hours taking pictures of toys.
Jeez. And that is decadence. That is a decadence.
It didn't matter if it was crap or not. He just wanted to just show us all the pictures of, like we've never been to Target.
Wow.
I didn't go down the Barbie aisle though, so not every toy technically.
But yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, so it's very important for us to be cognizant of the fact that just because it exists doesn't mean anyone will actually look at it.
Well, that's a great point though, because like my mom does photo albums for every year, and we still look at those, even though there's only like maybe 200 album photos in each album for the year. At most, you take like 2 or 3 pictures a month. 10 pictures a month. Christmas at 20 pictures. And I've also got my grandmother's photo album going back to the 1900s. So there's a bunch of albums and a shoebox of photos, but not a not a ton of stuff. But that stuff still gets looked at, and I digitize those. So there's not a lot of pictures, but there's some great great old pictures of the family, and those get looked at. And you're right, though. Yeah, no one's going to sift through 70,000 photos. It's just too much. And
well, I think it's also because of it's not for ignorance or apathy. It's that our lives have become so busy that knowing the intimate lives of those who came before us is not in the forefront of our minds these days. Not many people have this, beautiful family Bible that's kept in the credenza in the dining room, where they're going to pull out the family Bible and look at the family tree that is written in the front or the back matter of the Bible, and discuss the different people who lived in the family before them, the generations before them.
Yeah.
Now people are just so fatigued, and there's just so much information that even knowing their own intimate life is overwhelming to them. And we don't have time. People aren't reading anymore. They don't take time to breathe anymore. They don't take time to go outside and touch the grass. So, it's unfortunate. But I mean, because it is a power, right? Like, think about what kind of a power that is. If you and I, as Generation X, and Clobby, well, he's technically a Gen Xer, he's barely a boomer, if we could know our great-great-grandparents, wouldn't that be sensational? Yeah. But I think it's because of the time we grew up in, and we are desperate to know them. But once all that information is available, people shy away from imbibing it. It's too much information. There's too much intimacy, and too much is unknown, right? So it's crazy. 72 million photos. It's an interesting thing to do.
Yeah, and I love photography. I take a ton of photos. Excuse me. And what I try to do is maybe print some of them, but not nearly as many. Or what you do, I did a lot of sports photography. So you take 1,000 to 2,000 pictures of the game. And half of them are immediately garbage, because just the way the nature of shooting sports. And then you go through and maybe get 500 or 400 left from the game, and then you got to go through and pick like 40 or 50. Like a highlight album, to show people, because no one has time to go through and watch 400 pictures. So what I would do is I'd have the whole photo album as a back, secondary album, and the highlights picture. If you wanted to hunt through for more pictures of your kid, you could do that. But people's time is limited. So,
well, we're also searching we're searching to be immortalized. We want to make sure that our lives matter. And that people remember us. We want to be remembered. And it's quite unfortunate that usually within, a generation or two, someone's personality is completely lost to us, unless they're, someone who has led a remarkable life, where hundreds of people can recall their personality, or at least, try to portray the person that they knew. And so it's something to do with our mortality. We want to leave our mark, right? And the more information we create around ourselves, the more we feel like we can leave knowing we'll be remembered. And we made this decision when we opened up social media, and these corporations decided whether or not they were going to allow social media platforms to keep profiles alive even after someone was deceased. So it's we want to be immortalized. We want to be remembered.
Yeah, that's human nature. Yeah, you don't want to disappear. And I think some of the nice things are videos are great too, to have short videos. Like my parents or grandparents is very limited stuff on video, but I digitized all our old 16 millimeter movies. I gotta edit them someday and set them to music. But the good thing is there's good and bad. It's very limited, the number of films, but the few ones you have are precious, and then you can actually see your grandparents, or in my case, actually I did know one great grandmother for a few years. So, you know, those kind of things are great. But as we go on, like, what's the digital footprint of, you know, here we've got all these shows on YouTube, which we love doing, and they're so fantastic. But is someone going to come back and, you know, one of my ancestors someday going to come listen to this show? You know, probably not, but I hope so. But, you know,
you're hoping for that one.
Yeah,
but
hey,
you know, and this is why
that's where Mark got that thing cycle, right?
Yeah, and I think this is why many people cry out for this idea of transhumanism, to have these algorithms to portray their lived life, the life they lived on social media, whether or not it will be accurate, or if anyone's even interested in it. But it is it's a very intriguing idea that we will be immortalized in death, even though it may or may not represent who we truly are. And that Green Green Grass Home, that's a song I haven't heard in a very long time, Larry. But yeah, it's interesting. I don't know what to say about that. You know, when I think about Data and Goliath, and I think about the discussion on how exabytes changed the way that corporations behave, changed the way that governments behaved, the minute that storage was no longer a problem, how information became the premium and aggregated data became the power. There's a lot going on there. There's a lot to unpack there. But yeah, I'm going to say it again. 72 million pictures. You're the only person I know who may actually meet that.
Yes.
That's you, Mark.
At Target.
At Target.
Target, right? Yeah.
We were
I broke Google.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Well, I go overboard whenever I do something. I go,
you
know, it's my human nature. That's my nature. So people know that about
me. I
me.
go underboard when I do something. Like I'm an underachiever. You're an overachiever. So it kind of works out.
But it bogs me down. I can't get things done because, like, the video I was doing today, I did a video time lapse, and I'm like, I got to get a video out. And I had these photos I took, like, from 2016 of building the Lego TARDIS, and I came across my hard drive. I'm like, I want to do a quick video of that. It's like 2 hours later, you know, edited, and then now I'm going to tweak this and put this, you know, and then I'm still learning Premiere as I go. And Premiere, what a frustrating program. I've never had a more infuriating program than Premiere, but you know, just simple things that stop working. And when, you know, you click on something and something doesn't work when it's supposed to work. But, you know, you're tweaking things and learning things. Oh, I'll do this as a background, and this, I'll mask this and do that, you know. And I'm like this was supposed to be a quick, you know, it was a lot of fun to do, don't get me wrong. But I'm like, oh, this is going to be a quick one, you know, and nothing's quick, you know, especially when you're a perfectionist like that. It can be a detriment too sometimes with certain things when you just got to let it go and just say, don't worry about it, you know. But yeah, that's just my, you know, my crazy nature, for better or for worse. So
yeah, Nirot says the person who remembers you won't even be remembered. Yes, and that's the truth. But is being remembered, does that substantiate a meaningful life, or perhaps a meaningful life is what we're living now? So, you know, rather than being remembered and having folks reminisce on the great life we led and how great we were, we could also just live in the moment, be present in the moment. But I'm not sure that we're evolved enough to realize that yet, Nirot.
Let's see if I can get even more bummed out tonight. Jesus, man. I'm just kidding. Everywhere we go.
Well, no, we're talking about when you were gone for a few minutes, we were talking about like who's going to look at all of Mark's pictures.
I know. I'm just kidding. I'm saying we keep going to downer. We keep even down Downer Drive.
Debbie Downer.
Tonight.
Who's the character on Saturday Night Live? Yeah. Hey, Rod.
Just kidding.
Yeah, hi, Rod Thunderheart.
Oh, shit.
We're having a great time here. You all right?
Always. I hope everyone is.
Yeah.
We've been all over death. We've had Winnie the Pooh traumatized.
Why is Winnie the Pooh a horror movie? That's what I want to know.
Because he's public domain.
I'd rather not know about it. At this point, the highlight of my day was sitting through She-Hulk. Oh
my God, that was a bad episode.
But
the good news is September 6th. motion picture will be released on DVD.
It's not good news when you can't afford it. That's ridiculous.
I'm sorry
money
about
on
that, but
sucker.
Maybe someone will
screw them for making something so expensive. Like
maybe
that.
someone will transport it. Well, actually, it's 25 smackrels for the Blu-ray.
Oh,
4K.
is that all? Okay, well that's fair.
Yeah.
I thought they got some. Yeah, but the big nice one. They have to make that big ass nice one for like 100 smackle-assers or whatever.
Yeah, 120 smackrels. Yep.
Some ass smackerels. 120 smackerels. That's see what's ridiculous about that is that's more than the 50th anniversary set by leaps and bounds more now. And you could get if you found someone on eBay that would sell you that anniversary set for $100 or so, you'd be getting everything but that movie. And
yeah, it's true.
Buy the one for $29. So I mean, if you're spending the ridiculous bucks on one set like that, they can go. Never mind. God bless you.
I call it she hump. It's not she twerk. It's she hump.
It's twerk hump. Twerk hump now. Sad news.
She humper. She's a hero humper.
She's a twerker now. And, boy.
Air humper. Hero air humper.
Well, Rod Thunderheart, I'm sorry to hear about that, my friend. He says sad news. They let me go. Suspiciously happened history before the 3-month mark.
Oh,
sorry to hear that.
Suspicions. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Rod, buddy.
That sucks. Yeah.
Man, Larry, Hump Hulk.
Hump Hulk. She's that. She's show sucks. Good God, I mean.
Oh my God, the wrecking crew that was in it.
The wrecking crew. All right, before we get to the wrecking crew, I got to say something. I got to show what an old fogey I am. The character that the woman that she tweaks with it at the end. That what's her Megan the? What
I thought it was the Italian stallion.
Clobby just called it tweaking. I love
tweaking.
you.
Did I say that? Tweaking.
I love you.
I didn't. Did I? I didn't even hear myself.
I love you with all my heart.
Screwed up words all night. I said Bohr when I met Chris Gore, and I like Chris Gore. I'm embarrassed. By the way, that was because Chris Bohr. There, did it again. Chris Gore's fault. Was he and Polly, my good friend Polly, and Chris Gore went to see that Rings of Power thing last night, and they kept saying what a bore it was. So I was wanting to quote them, and I got my words all messed up because I have Alzheimer's. So, anyway, yes, the tweaking, twerking, whatever the hell she was doing.
I thought it was the Italian stallion at first.
She was called. All right, this was a woman that she's doing this with. That was in the episode earlier that the shapeshifter was pretending to be. Her name is Megan the Stallion, right? Nothing against the lady.
The Stallion?
But in the story, I thought that was a made-up character. I didn't know that was an actual real singer.
It's not later. An actual singer. Get out of here.
Yes, it is. Yeah,
a Grammy Award-winning whatever.
Yeah,
it twerks. I did not. But the point is, that's pop culture in me for you. I don't know what the kids listen to this trash they listen to now. Hey, Dead Man.
Get off my lawn.
They're called Dead Man. Dead Man. There you go.
Hey, Dead Man.
Dead Man.
So
Dead Man Clan.
I did not. Did you know that was a real person?
No.
I only knew because I'd seen someone post something on Twitter, and they were like, "This is awesome, Megan the Stallion." I guess it's the.
I've never heard of her.
Oh, I get it now. So then she's a rapper.
That's not a singer. Sorry.
Yeah, she's a rapper. Larry says
that's not a musician.
You can take all of your Christmas presents to her, and if you give her a small fee, she'll wrap them all for you.
It's a fair cop.
She's from Houston, Texas. Originally from Houston, she first garnered attention when videos of her freestyling became popular on the social media platforms such as Instagram, or I call it Instagrammy when old people use it. But
let's be fair.
No idea who she was. Yeah.
Donnie Pearson says, "I love the music of Megan Thee Stallion." So that's fine. What I'm saying, I'm not even really trying to trash the person. I legitimately, when I'm watching the episode, because she keeps being mentioned, because the case that one of She-Hulk's associates is taking, defending one of her nemesis, one of her guys she doesn't like, who had gotten taken in by his girlfriend who pretended to be that woman, Megan, but she was actually an Asgardian shapeshifter. That was her unfunny bullshit B-plot. Yep. And but when they kept saying her name, like I'm supposed to know who that is, I guess. But so I just assumed she was made up fictional celebrity in that universe. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you thought it was a real person.
Well, the name is ridiculous, so I would think the same thing.
Well, then I saw in the credits, because I watched the Astro, it said Megan Thee Stallion as herself, and I was like, oh, wait, really? That's mean like an actual person? So, and I hate rap and I hate all that stuff anyway, but I mean, fine. I'm just saying that was so the girl she was twerking with in the after credit scene of the pose, that's what that was, huh? Yeah, well, but let's get to the Wrecking Crew then. Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Oh my god! I know it's
you guys.
I know it's a comedy. All right, let me find a picture of the real Wrecking Crew for a minute. The Wrecking Crew are a group of villains from the Marvel Universe from going way back into the Bronze Age, pretty much. Big, bulky guys who use Asgardian enchanted like tools to be, bad guys. They fight Thor. That's how they can, they give Thor a problem and Hulk and people like that. They're big, super muscle bound, holy shit.
They're badasses.
They're badasses. They really are. I mean, Thor can take them, but you got to be Thor or the Hulk, to fight these guys, right?
We're not going to bother putting up spoiler warnings either. This show is so bad. No,
the show comes pre-spoiled. So let me just find some pictures of the real. Now, by the way, in the current Marvel comic, like last year, they showed a picture of them in their normal costumes, but they were like they've been on like Jenny Craig or something. They're like little skinny little. So here's an example of what the Wrecking Crew is supposed to look like. And I always thought, they're kind of cool. I mean, they're backbencher villains, but they're like the big physical villains. Like big dudes who fight the defenders and Thor and all this kind of stuff, right? So there you go. That's the Wrecking Crew. See the big dudes?
Okay.
You want to see what this stupid show did to them?
Yes, show me.
You got a picture? Yeah.
Oh God,
it's so bad.
I guess I'll just put She-Hulk Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, She-Hulk. I can snip a picture.
I don't think that's her name. I think it's She-Hulk.
You got one? She-Hulk. I'm sorry. You got one? Do you have one? Or?
Well, no, I got to clip it, so I can.
No, I found one.
You got it.
Crap.
Okay.
Let's see if you can see this. Somebody actually put a comparison of the two. Can you see that crap?
What? Oh my goodness!
Here, I'll share my screen here. Yeah, and you can see it bigger.
This is okay. Let me get mine off of there. If you're not going to even try, suckers, I know it's a comedy. I don't care if it's a comedy. Jesus Christ! If you're not even going to try, the Abomination, because he's from other movies, of course. At least looks like it's supposed to look, and that ain't what they did with him.
That's two of them.
Oh my God!
Look with the gold helmet, and then you've got the crowbar. Yeah, this is supposed to be the most awesome guy. That's the the main. What's it called? The Wrecker? I'm forgetting now. Who's the main guy? That's the main guy with the crowbar. Isn't it the Wrecker?
Wrecker. He looks like he can wreck his way out of a wet paper bag. What are we talking about here?
Wrecker first started as Wrecker. There's pile driver and bulldozer and but yeah. Anyway.
And then let me
Wrecking Crew.
I'm just gonna. Yes. I don't want to show any motion here, so I'm gonna go back one clip here and show you just show you how bad they. That. Yeah, let me just show you. There we go.
Yay, brother. There we go. Okay, there they are. That's the Wrecking Crew, according to jerks.
Oh my God!
And morons who make your Marvel garbage MCU stuff, folks. Right there.
Lit up weapons. It's like.
Well, just call them something. Why would you say the Wrecking Crew? It's so cool. Dying. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not gonna say it. I almost said Darich. Darich. For those of you who don't know Darich, talk to Claude. He could tell you, but he better not tell you because it's a secret. Darich. These people can Darich.
Wow.
Yeah, just a total disaster. Just totally hard. And I'm gonna go forward a couple frames just to show the other guys. But I just don't want to.
It's not. It's just
pitiful.
They think they're
it's just pitiful. Yeah, it's supposed to be funny, but it's very look how bad this is. In the first episode, she had like a 1-punch 2-second fight. The next one, no fighting, and this one, their idea of action is this last thing, the scene at the end where she trounces these little twerps. Yeah, and
if
she could have
anybody is
killed
under the
them.
mistaken impression that the corporations are doing anything here other than trying to woo the other 50% of the population, they're delusional, because that's all that's happening here. Is we're shifting the psychographic, the demographic
Right.
for comic books in film and in television so that it appeals to women. So they made all their money off of men through comics, and now they think that if they bring if they switch the demographic, the psychographic for film and TV, that they can gain the female audience, and that's why it's turning into Ally McBeal and
that's why the ratings are garbage.
Yeah, and a romantic comedy, But anyway, I just think it's ridiculous because you guys already know I'm not even into this stuff, and I've talked to you folks before about when we talk about communication theory and we talk about the castrated male, and we talk about Laura Mulvey, and we talk about all these social theories behind this. The corporations promised that this was going to be their shining moment where they were going to edify society and take away, the male gaze, this look attedness, this whole thing where women were being objectified, and that the whole thing was going to be transformed. It was going to be enlightened witness through corporate hegemony and corporate didacticism. And instead, we have some lady air humping. They did not do any of the things that they promised they were going to do. Obviously, they're a corporation, right? That's a business that is illegal, that has legal personhood. And they were not interested in edifying society or changing any of our ideology or any of the things that people find repressive. All they did was they switched the male audience that used to buy comics into a female audience, hoping they'll watch TV and they'll watch this stuff. But air humping is not liberation. Liberation it's self-humiliation instead of objectification. So it's just garbage. Everything that comes out of the corporate mouth is verbal diarrhea. This is the biggest fraud perpetuated in this shift in psychographic from the male audience for the comic books to the female audience rom-com for television. Anyone with half a brain cell could see this.
And actually, Raquel, very well said. But they actually addressed that in the beginning part of the episode, which I'll try to get a screen grab from that. But they talk about they're making fun of they're interviewing people on a TV reporters interviewing people and saying, well, why don't you just make your own heroes? And they're taking a lot of the stuff that the fans say.
Oh yeah, they made fun of fans.
They made fun of the fans. They made fun of the fans. So you have a better recollection than me, I'm sure. But basically, it was an F you to the fans.
At the very
and I wanted to throw something in my TV because She-Hulk was actually made. What had happened was the Bionic Woman was created by it was NBC or ABC, and when they had the $6 Million Man, so they said let's make a female version. So that TV show had the rights to the Bionic Woman. So what Marvel did when they did the Hulk, and the Hulk was a really huge success. We can debate the merits of that show, but it was a big hit for a while. And so Marvel quickly came and said, let's make a She-Hulk character so that we don't lose the rights to the character if the TV show decides to do something like that. And I think there were some rumors that we're going to do it, or of course, that not 100% sure on that.
Stan wanted to get a leg up on him, so Stan and a few other people, Galt and some other people at Marvel decided let's do a female Hulk, just because they did it with Spider-Woman first, actually.
Yeah, so Jessica Drew was Spider-Woman, and then you had She-Hulk, and they're derivative characters, but and the evidence, She-Hulk never sold. I mean, the character never, and Byrne had his run that everyone loves, but other than that,
before that, she never sold.
She never sold.
Comics.
Yeah, going to come rip up your X-Men.
The thing that I object to is this idea that a corporation, a corporate entity, could be the edifying point for society. Yeah. That if they make this female character, that they've somehow done something great for us, and they're not. Half the population is male, the other half of the population is female. They want to appeal to that other half of the population so the corporation can cash in on the whole of society. everyone participating in society. If they can get women on board, women are the purchasers for the home. Women purchase things for the children. Women purchase things for their husbands. These are the people with the buying power. It's the kids and the moms. And so if they can turn She-Hulk into Wine Mom, then what they've done is they've doubled their audience. They've doubled their earning potential by innovating a product that already exists. So they don't even have to be creative and make a new product. So all of this is highly manipulative. And what it is it's just maximizing the profit off of a single idea. There's nothing virtuous here. There's nothing philosophical or emancipatory or liberating in this, in what's going on here. It's simply a psychotic corporation trying to wring every dollar it can out of this single idea and attempting to double the audience in the process. And it's just, anyone can see that, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. You don't have to be a scholar to figure that out. I mean, this is why comics were liked by guys, and now why when they're on TV, they're romantic comedies. Women like romantic comedies, and that's what you're seeing now, romantic comedies.
Yeah, right? And that's 100%. I mean, I got to say, the one comic I did love to read was Spider-Girl, and I always say, if you guys know me long enough, how much I love that series. So that was Mayday Parker, who was Peter and Peter's daughter. Alternative, universe with a Jackal. The Clone Saga didn't happen, and he stayed married to Mary Jane. So it's set in the future in an alternative universe, but they're just it was Tom DeFalco. What I loved about it was old school stories and villains, and I shouldn't say simple, but it wasn't as crazy crazy soap opera. Very easy to follow, fun story, and I just loved it. But I think she was actually the first female character to sell 100 issues. And I could be wrong, but it was something. I think her first series went to 108 issues, and then the second series made it to 50 issues, but it was a big deal at the time. It was, I think even the cover acknowledged it, most, sales by a female character. But yeah, it's a rarity that a female character, rightly or wrongly, or just the way it is,
Well,
so
and it's because this derivative thing, this idea of this castrated male, this idea of all you have to do is put a woman into a man's suit and presto changeo, everything works, and it doesn't. The ideas of femalehood, or what it's like to be a woman or a girl, if they're not there at the inception of the product, I don't think that it works quite as well. I don't remember Supergirl or the Bionic Woman becoming a cultural phenomenon with girls, and yet they were there. You could buy the Bionic Woman figure, little girls didn't. You could buy the Supergirl figure, or the female Spider-Woman figure, and yet girls didn't. But you know what girls did buy? Barbies. Lots and lots of Barbies. So I think that there is a very complicated conversation about identity and how you view yourself and how you define yourself. If your essence is female and you have these ideas about what it is to be a woman, if you define that only in terms of what it would be like to be the derivative of being a male, for me that holds no interest for me. And I know that sounds insulting to many of you, but it's true. Like when I see She-Hulk, I don't think to myself, oh, that's a woman's character. I see a corporation very clearly trying to get me to like a female version of the Hulk because they want to double their profit and half their work and not have to pay a creative person who might come up with a very strong female character that women would love. And so there's a very intricate conversation there that we could probably, talk 5, 6, 7 hours about, using all sorts of scholarly resources and all sorts of opinions to bring to bear on it. But, like I said, how many girls walked around with a Bionic Woman figure? None. I didn't have one. Barbies? Galore.
Did they make a Bionic Woman figure? I don't even remember.
Right?
I don't think so. I don't think they did.
Well,
They did $6 Million Man, but No, I don't think so. Maybe they did. Maybe they did.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just saying that
No, I hear you.
these female things are out there. The female comics are out there. The female comic toys are out there, and and I don't see little girls buying them. I have plenty of nieces and nephews, and I've never seen any of them with the female nieces and nephews and godchildren and so on and so forth. I've never seen any of them with comics, and I've never seen them with any type of comic toys, ever.
Yeah,
male or female. Ever.
Well, when they had the Avengers movie, there was no Black Widow figures. And everyone was mad about that because maybe it was the guys that wanted to buy it, but they said, how come Black Widow doesn't have a figure?
Well, that happened with McFarlane just recently. He was making and I don't like him that much, but he could be really very frank about things at least. And they were on his ass about making, he's making all these figures for he's got the DC license and stuff and the Spawn stuff. And they were asking about, why aren't you doing more female? I mean, really all over him for doing more female figures. It's just they don't sell. They don't sell. He said, yeah, a couple here and there, like a Wonder Woman or something like that will sell a little bit, but sorry. And he didn't kowtow. They were all over his ass wanting to cancel him, but he's too big to cancel. So
this is what I mean.
He said,
he owns his own company too.
He owns the company. They don't sell. You don't like it. Too bad. We tried. He said he tried. Again, I'm not as big as I got some problems with McFarlane. He just said, look, we tried. People kept clamoring for it, or we thought, it wasn't. Turns out it wasn't the market, but people kept saying you should do it just because. And he tried it, and I was like, no, we don't do it as much anymore because, boys aren't buying them. I mean, they'll buy some of them, sure. Look, that big Legion set I got that I spent, got that's so worth so much now from 2011. The Matty Collector set has 12 Legionnaires in it. Only one of the girls, and the Legion of the Superheroes has a lot of female characters, as you know. They wanted them to do a second set. We never got it, but I would have loved them to done a second set and had more of the girls in there. I want the whole group.
Yep.
But they didn't do it yet.
But that's a specialized collector thing.
But that's the thing that's happening that I don't think people realize, and that is this idea that this leadership, which I normally call hegemony because I'm an academic. That's what I'm talking about this leadership idea. Before it was, the Catholic Church, they controlled publishing, they controlled, or the writing of books and the books we read and what we thought and how we felt. And now it seems as though the corporation is trying to do that. And this generation is all too willing to allow a corporation, a business with personhood, to sort of mix itself in the pot there. So now it's like people have this expectation that it shows some type of ideological, apparatus inside of it, where it's like it's trying to edify you, it's trying to shape your morals, your ethics, your values, and it's integrated in shaping your morals, your ethics, and your values. And this is a very nefarious, very pernicious, very super, super scary thing to expect from a corporation, because a corporation does not give a single butthole about society or how we feel or girls, boys, or anybody in between. Corporations don't care about that. They care about making money. They have stockholders and they make money off of people. And so to expect them to show this type of a moral and ethical guidance that shapes our society and our values is absolutely insane. And so whenever we have these complicated conversations about it, a lot of people have a lot of feelings and they get super angry about all of this. But if you really look at the political economy behind the choices the corporations are making, because that's what they're doing, you see right through what they're actually doing, which is trying to double the profit on the same product for girls, whether or not it appeals to them, and then getting themselves involved politically about telling them what should appeal to them. It's a very, very scary thing that's happening in our society now. Very scary.
Hey, Rod.
Hey, Leonard. Yeah, and these quotes I've been putting up from the show.
What is this here?
Well, this is from the show. So that's from She-Hulk tonight. Or yesterday. So that they have all these quotes. Well, this is a clip from the show. So that on the, that's a quote from the show.
Are you turning every superhero into a girl? No one asked for that?
Yeah. So this is from She-Hulk. So these are the tweet. If you freeze frame it, These are the tweets.
Oh,
the news
okay.
report.
That was a scene of the show.
So this was when they're attacking the.
I couldn't see the damn
yeah.
thing.
So this is when they're attacking the fans.
Hey, Matthew Pounder.
Hey, Matthew Pounder.
So they have a fake, fake Twitter. It's not Twitter, but it's obviously
Thanks,
a fake Twitter.
Fancy, by the way, yeah, I did not. I just forgot all about it. Thank you for you telling me they did have Bionic Woman. I didn't want to forget about it. Good.
Yeah, they did. Yep. But yeah, so they're just showing the people. So what am I going to do? I'm looking around my room. I've got a ton of female superheroes. Am I supposed to throw them out now? I guess I'm not. Because maybe the show wasn't that good. I mean, I was. Me, I'm pretty open minded. I'll watch anything. But I'm waiting to laugh tonight. I'm like, all right, I'm going to wait to laugh. Is this show going to make me laugh tonight? The stuff with Abomination was not funny. The stuff with Wong was not funny. It was actually ridiculous. It was demeaning to Wong.
So
it was ridiculous how they explained how he got to. He said he needed a true opponent to test himself, so that's why he took really Abomination out of a maximum security, the maximum security prison in the Marvel universe. And they took him to a fight club, and then he returned on his own recognizance. He didn't have to send him back.
Hey,
Cardinal
Cardi.
Sam with the
Cardinal.
sticker.
And BC.
4.99 sticker. Hey, Plus Melody Picker. Hey there, good to see you. Cardinal Sutton with the 4.99 super sticker. Thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate you, sir. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, it's just unfunny that stupid ass crap. And again, I would ask, we only see her as She-Hulk for like 2 scenes in the whole thing, like for 5 seconds. They're really cheap. And you get to see the Abomination for a total of like what, a second, and the rest is just cheap crap, unfunny garbage. Just shows filthy.
Yeah, she's trying to get him out of prison, so he's up for parole, I guess, 20 years. And wow, Tim Roth looks like a lot older now.
But that's another thing. Tim Roth is great and all that stuff. That's You've taken another Marvel character, this time one of the great of the physical villains. And when I say physical villains, it means not the Doctor Doom types or the plotters, the guys who slug it out with the big heavy hitters. The Wrecking Crew, for example, they're physical villains. So they just fight Thor and Hulk and what have you, and that's what they're for. They're not masterminds.
They're like the Brood Squad.
Yes, and the Abomination is one of them who slugs it out with the Hulk. And that's what he's for. Now you're going to make all the stuff they did to Emil Blonsky by, first of all, him being able to control the change. Why can he control this change like that?
He was stuck as the Abomination.
He's supposed to be stuck as the Abomination.
That was one of the horrors of being the Abomination. And he looked, as bad as...
He was a jerk, too, and he was a scumbag. He wasn't like Mr. Hippie. He was like all sweetness and life, lovely. It was such...
He was irredeemable.
Another character they took a dump all over. So they took a dump all over the Wrecking Crew and the Abomination in this show already, in addition to She-Hulk and Hulk them as well. It's garbage. Sorry, continue.
Well, yeah, and that's part of the horror of being the Abomination. As bad as it is being the Hulk monster, doesn't look as horrible. Abomination with those crazy ears. He's almost like an amphibian type looking creature. So imagine being stuck, as that permanently. So they're ruining that part of the character. And then one of the scenes where he transforms, to show that he's in control, and everyone's screaming uncontrollably. It was just ridiculous. And then, of course, one guy in the movie that gets swindled, who you thought it was Megan Thee Stallion for $175,000. They've got to make him out to be this massive idiot, even though these are all actually, lawyers and DAs and highly intelligent, allegedly highly intelligent people to get into these positions, and they're just talking about what an idiot is. And of course, all the men have to, the elf shapeshifts, and she changes to a man, and she says, I didn't harass anyone today, or making jokes about harassment. So it's all geared towards, obviously, men bad, these simplistic quotes, and then of course you catch all these quotes in the show, and it's very one-sided. And I'm someone who loves reading about, good female characters in the comics, or Sue Storm, or.
But it's all intentional. But it's all intentional, right? That's the nature of hegemony. That's when the bourgeoisie, when corporations move in and they dominate something, and they try and change how you feel about it, who's in charge, what are your thoughts, what you like. They try and shape what you like. And in this case, instead of it just being a collection of people, a social class of people, instead of it being a single author who has written a book, it's now a corporation. And people aren't connecting to the fact that this is being done. And you can certainly see it from a political economy lens to double the audience just by shifting that psychographic. And they're making money off of the male audience too, though, here. Because, I was talking about this on my Twitter today. You can make a $1 billion film, and you can only make 500 million at the box office. But if you're one of these corporations who's involved with the attention economy ecosystem online, which was worth something like, $566 billion in 2002, and it's going to be worth 800 billion in the next couple of years, what do you care about? Do you care about the 800 billion in people bitching, whining, moaning, and fighting with each other over it, and how you're going to make money off of all of this residual love and hate that's created on social media? Or are you concerned with the pittance that you would make at the box office? And so people need to connect to the fact that there is a big structure of marketing that is happening here. These corporations are consolidating their power, what you can see, what you're not allowed to see, and they're trying to affect your motives, how you think and how you feel about these things. And it's super scary, and it's happening more and more and more. And I think people are not aware of it and how much money is involved here. And this is all done on purpose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, look at this, the message up here, and I'm in a room surrounded probably, by, at least 40% of the, the characters in my room are, I'm, just guessing. I got a ton of female superheroes, so it's not that we don't like female superheroes. And why are they doing this, attacking a segment of the audience in their show? I mean, how stupid is that? I mean,
well, because what is happening is it sort of feels like that what they're saying to women is, has anybody ever told you that you throw like a girl? Let's get back at those boys by dominating their space. So what we're going to do is we're going to take away everything that they love, and we're going to sort of mock it and make fun of it. But once again, when you're talking about a huge company, or these huge companies that own streaming services that have billions of dollars invested in what's happening online, especially in this advertising market, they're delighted when hundreds of thousands of you go on YouTube channels to talk about the outrage you feel, because then they have the women engaging with it and as this romantic comedy, this act of we're going to show the boys, and then you have men who are like, how can they do this to our product? And this whole time, what they've done is they've managed to engage the whole of society, not in the content, but over the content. And when corporations engage you in the content, they make a fraction of the money that they make when they engage you over the content. So when you're arguing and fighting with your fellow man, and you're making videos, and you're on Amazon, and you're clicking on ads, and you're on social media, and you're passively imbibing ads, that's to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars. Yeah. And so it's all good for them, whether you love it or hate it. That's the way this hegemony works. And that's why hegemony, especially the kind that dictates our morals, our ethics, and our values, should not be in the hands of the corporation. This generation had no business going to the corporation and saying, look, we have this tiny little nugget of critical theory. We understand that this type of these types of signs, symbols, and artifacts can affect our ideology. They can affect the way that we shape our culture. Do something about it. Because the corporation isn't going to answer with, well, yes, let's be responsible and try and shape society in a way that benefits all of humankind. Hey. No, the corporation is like, let's make some money off these suckers. And that's what they're doing.
Hey, Thing.
Hey, Thing, and Papa Delta Yankee. Good to see you, Thing, and Papa Delta Yankee. Thank you for being here. And yes, Phantom Outsider, that's, I couldn't find a good picture of the power record. The power record of this thing, the comic was this Hulk comic was the first time I ever saw really almost the Hulk, except for the cartoon, and of course the Abomination. And so yes, I know about the power records. It was one of my favorites. So that's what the Abomination is. But no, now he's a joke. Sorry, continue, Raquel.
Well, no, it's, I don't want to occupy all this space, but
No.
it's very important that people understand what's happening here. Imagine if the ladies were watching Bridgerton, the most watched show on Netflix. It wasn't even close. Like the numbers were insane. Huge. 76. How many people watch that? 76 million people or something like that watch that show. It was the most watched show on Netflix. Now imagine if men went in and occupied that space, that Bridgerton space, where
let's
the
get
show
some of the A team. Yeah, let's put the A team in Bridgerton.
Oh,
let's have some action. Yeah.
No, let's make it even worse than that. Let's make it all about hunting. Let's make it about skinning animals, gutting animals.
Yeah.
About gunfights, about what it was like to clean your gun, what it was like to repair a wagon, what it was like to fire staff, or you know what I'm saying? Like this is the way hegemony works, and that's why it's so important that folks understand the idea of hegemony. Hegemony is like when one social group goes in and asserts its dominance in another area, in another social area, in another social space, to try and become the leader of that space. So it can be done by a political group, it could be done by a country, it could be done by people, it could be done by social groups, but it has a very aggressive and antagonistic result. It does result in this type of friction. If Marvel turned around tomorrow and made this gorgeous, glorious romantic comedy that featured all of these beautiful, originally female characters, would women watch it? Probably, but that doesn't create the hegemony, the friction, the aggression, the arguing and fighting that lubricates this attention economy that's online, that lines the pockets of these corporations. Amazon makes in excess of $40 billion a year off of these online sales, the arguing and fighting, and you being on social media. It's making like $4 billion off of streaming. Do you think they care about whether or not you watch this show or that show? They want your money. They want your eyeballs on the screen, passively imbibing advertising and making hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars for them. They used to work to get you into the theater. They used to work to get you in front of your television so you'd look at these ads, so that you'd watch their shows, so that the content had to be pretty high quality. Now they don't give a rat's behind. You're walking around doing their work for them. You're shouting from the rooftops that you love something, you hate something, you're talking about it all the time. It's going to be worth $800 billion in the next couple of years, what we're doing right now. Not the show. That's pennies. It's 2 drops of piss in the piss pot. That's what I'm saying. Anyway.
Wow. Well said again. Love it.
Yep.
Very informative. But I wish that message could get out to everybody, but it's not gonna probably. I don't know how to distribute it, but it should.
Well, I don't know if everybody's prepared to hear it, because these long, complicated answers are not what people want to hear. They want something short and sweet.
No, that's true. What are we looking at there?
They want the easy answers, but men should be upset that something that they love, that was for their psychographic, that was for their demographic, is being dominated, deconstructed, and by deconstructed I mean taken apart, because there's also another meaning for deconstruction. Right. And I don't mean it in the calm theory sense. They should be upset about this, and they know that they're eliciting this anger from you as they use this hegemony to try and retool this product for women, and they're completely changing the psychographic, turning it into a romantic comedy instead of action and adventure. And even some of these comic books were science fiction. And so you've completely changed the genre of something, and yet you're trying to say to somebody, well, you just don't like it because girls are in it. Nothing could be further from the truth. If I sit down and I want to watch a gothic movie, I'm not expecting to watch, an action show. The two things are not the same. But the corporation likes it when we conflate all the genres because it means everyone will watch it. One film to rule them all, one show to rule them all. Get everyone in front of the TV watching that one thing. So they're not encouraged to create quality product and to keep these genres alive. And it's very scary because could you imagine, 10, 15 years from now, movie genres don't exist anymore. You sit down, you watch your local superhero movie, and it's a comedy, it's a drama, it's action. It's also got a whole bunch of critical theory in it where it's trying to edify you, trying to change your ideology. Who wants to watch that? No one wants to watch it. Maybe it might even have some horror elements. Let's just throw everything into the pot, and then it will totally suck.
Yeah. JT Kirk says, we just need our own streaming service, Clobby Plus. Well, that'll be there'll be a tiny selection because, I hate everything. Papa Delta Yankee says, clip RM's rant and I will blast it monthly on my socials.
No, don't do that.
All of this and try to encourage people to move on from filth quietly.
Yes.
Thank you, Papa, but I hear you. Yeah, absolutely. Donnie says, let's be fair, I guess, attorney, Sheet, it should be Sheet, isn't She-Hulk. Attorney at Blah is an okay Disney Plus show for me, to be honest, but I don't fault those who hate it or those who love it. Well, that's a fair way to be, Donnie, and you should be that way. I wish I could be like you. I'm obviously will be cordial and nice to anyone who likes or dislikes it, but I might fault them a little bit for liking it. Just kidding, like it if you want. I think it's a loathsome piece of filthy trash, but that's the way I think of the whole MCU. But hey, again, other than good-natured poking fun at you, I'm totally kidding. People can like whatever they want to like, and it's all cool, and everyone is welcome here with all views. So we appreciate you.
Except for Highlander 2, J-Man.
Right. Except for J-Man. No, and except for, filth. But
well, what threw me off this episode, I didn't think the first episode was that horrible. There are a couple of things I didn't like about it. Oh, there's some burn for us. And then the second episode I thought was, went downhill and was kind of boring. Yeah. Well, I was a little bit different, but then this one tonight, when these clips and the screenshots I'm showing, they're attacking fans, right? Hey, just put out a great show, and then you answer the fans that way, right? I mean, there's a subtle, and they think they're so clever by having all these clips and these Twitter clips and interviewing people and putting down these morons who don't like, quote unquote, don't like female heroes, which is nuts because I mean I've always enjoyed I love Thunderbolts. You got a lot of strong female characters in that, Fantastic Four, Sue, the X-Men, ton of women, Storm I didn't stop buying the X-Men when Storm became the leader. I mean, how ridiculous is that? We just want good stuff.
No, but one of the things that does bolster what Raquel was talking about a little bit, Confessions of Me as a 16-year-old. I know that, Donnie. Yeah, we're just all having just having a laugh about it. It's
yeah.
Everyone's cool except for Mark. He's the only one not allowed to have an opinion.
Yeah, I can't have an opinion.
But anyway, okay. So we were talking about how comic books largely had always been certainly historically marketed to boys.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as a boy growing up buying comics in the throughout the 70s, I very occasionally bought a comic. Well, in the late 1979, I actually bought this comic, and I was 16 years old, and I was a little embarrassed. I'm buying a girl comic, but it said Stan Lee's dumb name on it. It's Hulk with the She-Hulk, and I was a Hulk fanatic. I was like, and I kind of flipped it through it on the stand. John Buscema art, and Bruce Banner was in it, so I bought it. I'm like, man, I don't think I want anybody to see me buying this. I wasn't going to show it off to my friends who bought comics, put it like that.
Yeah.
But I read the book a couple issues, and they had good art in the first one. It was pretty good, and then the art got crappy. I dropped the book pretty much lately. I started just not liking the character, and then Byrne, who loves her more than anybody, he loves the character more than anybody. He put her in the Avengers when he started doing that for a short time, and then he put her in the Fantastic Four. I know it wasn't his fault, but he replaced her in the FF, and I couldn't stand it.
Yeah.
And then he revived her series with a new series. Oh, sorry. Where is it? Okay. And he did his thing.
Yeah, that's a great cover.
And I wasn't into this, but everyone most people saw her as kind of a joke, except they kind of liked her in FF a little bit. I didn't. But this comic was hugely popular. It was whether I like it or not, it was a very successful run. I didn't buy it at the time. I've gone back and read a little bit of it recently. I'll probably go back and read them a little bit just because of how bad this show is. But it's true that most of us were reluctant to buy. I mean, I bought a Wonder Woman issue every now and then, like another superhero. Well, for example, I'll give you an example, Raquel. In the 70s, early part of the 70s, when the Wonder Woman book was kind of sagging and a little bit before the TV show was made, they used to corner off the middle of the frame of the cover, and there would be something's happening to Wonder Woman, and on the outside the frame would be Batman or Superman or the Hawkman, or it would be a male superhero saying, talking about what's going on with what's happening with Wonder Woman this week. Will she get out of this or whatever? I'm like, okay, you're putting a superhero, a man on the cover because you want to sell the comic. You figure boys are going to buy it because they think this comic's going to have Superman in it, or even the Atom, or whomever, Batman or what have you, because then it kind of tells you something about the marketing of the character and of characters like that even back then.
Yeah, so. and I think some of this to pretend that a lot of this isn't organic, I think is quite false. Girls are very cooperative when they're young. They have different interests. Of course, there are exceptions to the rule. And of course, there are also men behaving badly, behaving like, very aggressively towards this whole idea. And there are the outliers, but I think on both sides. But I think the most important thing to remember is that there are genres. It's okay to be drawn to those genres. It's okay to have a psychographic. It's all right that psychographics exist. And psychographics, that's, like your age and how much money you make and the things you believe in and the country you were born in. And these all shape the things that you like. And I'm going to say this, and I want to make myself very clear. It's not that I don't think that we couldn't use some shaping there to improve images on both sides. The way they treat single dads, the way girls are portrayed. I'm not saying that there isn't room for improvement. What I'm saying is that the answer isn't to conflate all the genres and make it seem as though genre doesn't matter. And I don't think that the entity that should be shaping our ideology should be the corporations. I don't think they should be shaping our philosophical thoughts or our society. And that corporatization of that, and people looking to the corporation to do that for us, I think is absolutely full stop, absolutely effing insane. It's just insane. People like what they like. Is that shaped by their ideology? Is that shaped by their country of origin, their age, their social status, how much money they make? Absolutely. But to relinquish that power over to the corporation, I mean, we've seen a real transformation in the way that arts and entertainment are created in this generation, not our generation. I'm Gen X, but we've really gone from a single author who may challenge your thoughts, may challenge what you think and believe, and somebody who is really helping to add to our discourses, and we've turned that into a room full of writers that many of them are psychologists, they're marketing experts, they're looking for ways of manipulating you and branding you, and that corporate team decides what you watch on television. So being aware, like I said earlier, of the political economy behind this driving force is very, very important. The corporation is not this entity that is virtuous, that is looking to improve the lives of women and girls. And if they were, believe me, this self-humiliation that She-Hump did on television would not have happened if there was anything virtuous, if there was a gram of virtuousness to what these corporations are trying to do when they're trying to get your attention. They're trying to get your eyeballs. They're trying to get you online, angry and hopped up and wanting talking about their product. When before, you'd have to walk into a living room to see it, and you'd have to watch the whole thing. People need to understand this whole ecosystem. It's a very dangerous thing that corporations are doing, and we've given them too much power. And it's time to pull back on that for our own sakes. And I don't say this as a right-wing person, a right-wing nut, or a conspiracy freak. I'm saying this as a left-wing communications and technology scholar who has studied in depth comm theory. And the political economy aspects of this are truly terrifying. It's time to tap the brakes and say to ourselves, what are we really doing here? Because at the outset, 2 years ago when Clobby and I first started talking, this was supposed to be about bringing She-Hulk onto TV to show women in a positive way, in a positive light. And they were, yelling at the top of their lungs about how men were objectifying women, that only men wanted to watch this She-Hulk stuff because it was just a point in which to objectify women and oogle them and the male gaze and all of that. Well, now they're in charge of She-Hulk. And look at what they're doing. She's dry humping the air. How did objectification, how was it remedied through self-humiliation and the same male gaze? This is hypocrisy, and people need to realize what's fueling it. It's money, not ethics, not morals, not virtuousness. Cut the shit. That's not true, and everyone knows it.
Well said, yeah. And then why?
Very well said.
And why would a guy say something stupid like this? If they gave Hulk's manhood away, what the hell does that even mean? I mean, what does that mean? They gave it to.
Who said that? A bot?
No, in the show. That's this guy's interviewed on the show, and he says, "This is a screenshot from the show."
That was them making fun of fans.
They're making fun of fans. So all these clips, screenshots have been showing her. They're making fun of fans in the beginning of the show who wouldn't like She-Hulk, which is ridiculous. This isn't how you win people over. Who would say they took Hulk's manhood away? What the heck?
But it is how they make money off of you, right?
Yeah, I guess they did. Yeah,
That's right. Because somebody was on hundreds of people were on YouTube tonight, and they passively imbibed all of the advertising around Clobby's show and on YouTube. For the next half an hour through the affiliate program, anything they buy on Amazon or anything they buy from the affiliate marketers or the affiliate advertisers online, they're all dividing up their money there. And then they're going to go on social media. They might write a tweet about it, and people there every 2 or 3 seconds will be imbibing the immersive marketing there. And that's where they're making all their money, on the tail end of this. And they did it all by this falseness that they were here to be our new priests, to be our new church. Now the corporation's going to shape society. And so now it won't be objectified smart She-Hulk who is breaking the fourth wall and having this discussion and breaking barriers. Now it's She-Hump. She-Hump.
Did you just say tail end as I just put that screenshot up?
Yes, absolutely. Because I'm a jerk.
You said tail end,
and so bad.
And then
this
why
was
would
the
you
after credit scene? By the way, usually that used to mean something in these shows or movies where it was pertaining to something that was going to happen, like a portent or something that's going to. Now it's just a stupid joke.
And why would you hire a lawyer that would twerk? And Jennifer Walters acts like a moron in this end credit scene. I mean, she's supposed to be a smart lawyer. Why would you'd act professionally with someone who's, got this much money and is a huge star that I just learned of today?
Why is she CGI? Why isn't she a real person? Why isn't She-Hulk a real person?
Oh, because she has to. The boss said she has to be She-Hulk all the time at work.
ED's here. Yeah, see what happened. What the dumb plot of this, Raquel, is because of all the happenings that go in the Marvel universe. This law firm just opened up a superhero, superhumans or a dish wing, where they take care of cases that involve superpowered people, which is all fine and good. But she was a deputy district attorney who lost a case and got fired, which was pretty stupid. But that was another dumb plot of the second episode. First and second episode, but this guy hires her for this law firm that takes some of these supernatural or superpowered cases and stuff, So,
and she's getting paid a lot of money. Let me tell you, look
guys,
at that office.
But guys, I just want to ask you something. When we talk about this generation requiring the physical representation, the physical manifestation of themselves, the reflection of themselves in their arts and entertainment, I'm just wondering why this She-Hulk that was supposed to be this emancipation proclamation, this liberating moment for women in comics, why she's not real. Why is she a computer generated image instead of a real woman? Couldn't they hire a real woman? Where's the real power?
Tall,
and does physical power, do muscles? Is that the real definition of power for women?
You had to see her.
Do you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of semiotics going on here. That people are playing a lot of psychological games with the audience, and these games are for real. And a lot of it is bullshit. I don't see me being 12 feet tall and muscles.
She did need to be CGI
power.
though. She had to be CGI for it to work for a show like this.
Yeah,
I know, but don't you think it's hypocritical if what they wanted was real?
Well, yeah.
But we got the Incredible Hulk in the 70s.
Fake reality.
Right, but that guy who plays Thor, it's okay for him to eat 12 pancakes for breakfast, throw up,
I hear you.
50 cans of tuna, throw up, get an eating disorder or whatever that happens to these poor guys who are bodybuilding and they're sick all the time and weightlifting all the time and some of them are taking, not that guy, I'm not saying anything about that guy, but many of them are taking anabolic steroids and all these things. So these guys are expected to be the real deal on TV. But the girl doesn't have to be. She could be CGI, even though we're looking for the real. And when I say the real here, I actually mean the communication theory idea.
No, I hear you.
I think it's Jenkins who says the real, right?
Enigmatic Drop Bear, it's good to see you, buddy. ED's here.
It's not real.
But no, it's not.
So if female power is the same physical presence as male physical power, they miss the mark on that as well. I'm not saying that that's true because it's not it doesn't represent power for me.
Absolutely, you're right.
Intelligence represents power for me.
But they think it does. All they think is these are crass people with no understanding of things like nuance and context and anything like that. These are some very shallow creatures that produce this garbage.
So they think they're incredibly clever, and look, hey, we attacked all those idiots on the interwebs that are morons that don't want to see a strong female character, which could be farther from the truth. I want to see a well-written show, and tonight I was like, well, I'm looking for the laugh, and the Wrecking Crew maybe would have been a little bit funny if it wasn't the Wrecking Crew. You don't do that to the Wrecking Crew. As a longtime Marvel fan, you're pissing off the audience, your core viewers that have been reading and collecting these characters and love these comics for years. If they'd made like an off the wall villain that Paste Pot Pete, if they'd made fun of Paste Pot Pete, all right, maybe that's going a little bit too far, but you know what I'm saying. If they took a joke character and do that, and then of course Jennifer Walters is so powerful, so these guys are idiots as the Wrecking Crew. They're ridiculously underpowered and have they're portrayed as morons and imbeciles. There's no, even though the show is supposed to be funny, there's no humor in that because there's no threat. So I mean, if you take a show like The Tick, where it's the live action and the cartoon, I love the live action show. There's such great satire, and then that's how you make something funny. And they're skewering, the establishment in that show, and they're making fun of everything, but they're doing it in a funny way, and there's all these jokes, and Arthur's a CPA, and actually Mexican Iron Man should be like Arthur, as a CPA.
Real semiotic ball.
Yeah.
Oh wow, what a great comment from Hungry Boy.
Absolutely, Hungry Boy. And yes, Larry, exactly. They are very childish, right? These are intellectual toddlers, pretty much all of Hollywood. And
when you look them up, boss, most of them haven't even finished high school. And yet they're trying to teach all of humanity sociology.
I can't throw stones from that house, but that you can, I can't. So yeah.
But what I'm saying is if you take on the apparatus of being the sociological implement in arts and entertainment, I think you should at least have finished high school, right? You can't just say, well, you know, I wanted to go to the big city and be discovered, so I left before I finished grade 12, and now I'm on this Hollywood show, and I'm going to be the sociological implement to affect change using critical theory in comic books on TV. I mean, it's quite the thing to say, right? Not to say, but to believe internally, whether they've even had that conversation with themselves. I just, as a woman,
I don't think you got to be self-aware for that.
Yeah, but as a woman, I feel incredulous because, you know, I don't have a dog in this fight. I don't care about this crap. I don't care about comics. I don't care about any of this BS. But I clearly remember like 2 years ago when I first met you, where we were talking about this, and everyone was up in arms about having this hegemony so that women could discover their real representation in comic books. And here we have a CGI woman dry humping the air. So all that semiology, all that high-minded graduate theory that they were trying to implement into our culture, into our cultural artifacts, that was all BS. None of them, not a single one of them, did anything for women's liberation or for women to feel good about themselves or to transform comic books into something that didn't have the male gaze. Now, whether I agree with that or not is immaterial here. What matters is that they said it, and then they were completely hypocritical about it. She's dry humping the air. How is that better than her having gigantic boobs and wearing a onesie? How is it different? It's not. The semiotics are still there, folks. The semiotics are still there. The hypersexualization is still there. The male gaze is still there. Only now it's women doing it to themselves in an act of self-humiliation. And all the while, the corporation is trying to act like they did us a favor. And all they were trying to do is double their audience. They sold this shit to the men, and now they're going to try and sell it to the women as romantic comedy. Reject this horse shit. Do it for yourselves, people, if you have respect for yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing to try to, you know, broaden the audience, and, you know, typically, you know, Marvel / superheroes have been the domain of, you know, young boys. And, you know, it's not, you know, they introduced Batgirl in 67.
Good night, Max.
Good night, Max.
Maximum Redstone.
Thank you, Cardinalson. You're too kind, buddy.
Thank you, Cardinal.
Raquel's the hero here, not us.
No, you're doing your own, and so is Mark. Trust me. I love you guys.
Yeah, well, Batgirl was introduced to, you know, broaden the audience to the Batman TV show, and, you know, Yvonne Craig. I mean, hey, I don't think many young boys complained about her addition to the show, and there's, you know, so there's a right and wrong way to.
This was my first love of life, dude. What are you talking about?
But they didn't insult the audience when they introduced her and said, why did they demask, you know, take Batman's maleness away and give us Batgirl, who are like, you know, we love the character of Batgirl, and she was actually, you know, a lot of people maybe don't remember or realize it, but she was actually a TV character before she appeared in the comics. So it's you know, created for the. That's
too cringy for me to. I got to cover it up with something.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, keep it covered. But that's so you know, there's a right and wrong way to do it. So they think they're all so smart, and how, hey, we zapped them tonight. We got them, and I'm open to watching the show, and I'm like, but yeah, I didn't laugh once during the whole show.
All right, JD, take it easy, buddy.
JD, sweetheart, you have a doctor's appointment in the morning. Honey,
Good
we're
luck.
thinking of you, and you know, everyone is sending good vibes, and those who pray are going to say a little prayer for you, and we're sending you our love and support, and I hope that turns out for you, JD Lewis. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good one.
And don't hope you didn't eat too much bacon today, because they'll show up in your blood test tomorrow. Just
yeah,
kidding.
you don't want to have the bacon blood test. Mark's right.
Don't listen to them. Me bacon.
Yeah.
No, you were saying, Mark?
Well, Larry's saying Batgirl was Batwoman's niece in the early 60s. I thought that was a different character.
No, that's the original. In the Golden Age, Kathy Kane and Betty Kane, but then they created a different character, the Barbara Gordon one for the TV show. It's different. Larry probably knows that.
Yeah. So,
actually late 50s, I think, and early 60s there. But yes, Indeed.
Lenrod, my blood is bacon.
Yeah.
Nice, good blood.
And and actually, Alfred was dead.
Papa Delta, that's cool. I didn't see Terminalist, but Reacher is pretty good. It's a good show.
Yeah, Reacher's good. Yeah. No, Alfred was dead, if I'm recalling correctly, in the comics at the time.
Alfred was dead for a little while.
Yeah, and they brought him back after the TV show. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, let's get rid of this crap. We'll finish out.
Yeah.
We'll say goodbyes. I'll just mention one other thing. Did anybody watch Samaritan yet on Amazon?
No. Should I?
Well, new Sylvester Stallone film. I don't know if you'd be into it. If you're not into that sort of thing.
That's a pass for me.
It has a great feel of kind of the old. Mark, you know about it? You seen it?
No, I've just seen the clip of it, but looks pretty good.
It's has a good feel of those old 90s action films. And let's see, Pop Delta saw it. He said it's fantastic. Yeah, it was really.
Looks good.
It was kind of the grim and the gritty type thing, but it was sort of a superhero story, It is a superhero story. There's your She-Hulk, and I enjoyed it. That was pretty good. So yeah, anyone it's on. Yeah.
Was it Amazonians or what was it?
It's on Amazon.
Yep. So should I make my She-Hulk twerk, or do we not want to see that?
No, but I want everyone to make sure that that no one gaslights you. I want you to stay on top of this stuff and really have a think on this, okay? So 2 years ago, their idea was they were going to transform the visual semiology. That's a negative thing to say.
A movie, Larry.
They were going to completely transform the semiology of women in comics when they brought it to film. So these onesies that women were wearing, the enormous breasts, the beautiful hair, all of that was bad. The bad people made that. And now, while you're watching it on television, not only do we have a woman with enormous breasts, but we also have a woman with an enormous bottom standing next to a CGI'd version of a woman with an enormous bottom. And they're both dry humping the air. And I want you to have a think on whether or not the corporation did something really great for women here, or if they just changed the hypersexualization from the chest to the chest and ass on one of them and just the ass on the other. And ask yourself, is this real? Is this real? Am I dumb enough to fall for this? And then I think you'll come up with the right answer.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Are you done with that, or are you showing?
Well, no. You don't want me to make it. Oh, here. Where's another?
No twerking with it. No twerking. Papa Delta Yankee says, agreed. Respond with silence when it's bad and praise the content you genuinely love. I'll half agree with you on that one. This channel is always. In other words, I don't have a channel where I review things, and when I review things, if I think it's bad, I'm going to say so. I firmly believe you can't have one without the other. You've got to be fair in your reviews. You've got to be fine with criticizing something, critical analysis, and not be afraid. If you hate it, I say it and shout it. But if you do, balance it out with some stuff that you do love. For example, this show, this past month, I celebrated something I love dearly, the great Jack Kirby, and his works. And there was not one negative to be found on any of those shows because, it was all pure love for Kirby. Obviously I hate a lot of things that have been done to my pop culture, things that I love, like Star Trek and Star Wars and Doctor Who and things like in comics. So I'm going to say it. No, I know you're exaggerating for sure. Absolutely. No, I hear you. I exactly know what you mean. So, and yet I want this always to be considered a positive channel that will engage in the reality of being critical of something that it needs be. In other words, when we review a Star Trek episode from a Deep Space Nine or a TNG or even a TOS that we think is not very good, with love, we're gonna beat up on it a little bit. We're gonna take it. Yeah. When we talk about, however, when we got stuff that we hate, like for example, I hate anything Trek with the name Trek on it after 2005. You'll notice that I'll mention it. I'll call it the filth and I'll trash it, but we don't do whole shows about it. And that's the thing. That's the distinction that needs to be made. In other words, you might say, "Oh, they're being negative. They were trashing Jar Jar Abrams crap or this." Yes, I do it, but you'll never see it programmed as a show. Where tonight, folks and boys and girls, we're going to trash the new so and so that we hate. We're going to trash STD or P Hard or whatever. I don't do that here, and I'm not knocking those that do. I'm glad people do it. I'll just, if it comes up, we'll talk about it. In passing, we'll say, yeah, that's crap, and I'll tell you what I think. The only time I'll make an exception is like when we review some of these these current Marvel movies, like with J-Man and Mark and I will review them, like Thor, Love and Blunder or some kind of garbage like that. We'll definitely tear it a new one if it deserves it. But for the most part, like for example, when I do my classic comics review, automatically I'm going in with the pretty much the spoiler that it's something that I like. And we're going back and revisiting it, so the term review may not be necessarily. We are reviewing it as well, and we'll make fun of it if it needs to be criticized. So I believe in criticizing things for sure. The show will never be about, or rarely about, where we just beat up on something. And when we do, there'll be more to that show than that. Like we'll beat up on something for 30 minutes that we think it's really bad, and we'll try to have some fun with it. But then the rest of the show, we'll talk about things that we love as well. If you see where I'm coming from. So, however, I am not dissing the channels that do go out there and pick apart the horrible things that are being done in pop culture right now, because they're doing the Lord's work. I think they're doing what needs to be done. It's just something that I don't really handle modern pop culture. I leave that to those channels, and I talk about, older stuff like Star Trek, comics, different things. And once in a while, like we just got through talking about She-Hulk. So I'll throw that in there once in a while, if you see what I'm saying. I just wanted to clear that up, that mostly we don't do a lot of new stuff here. Once in a while we'll do it. But for the most part, like for example, I didn't advertise that I was talking about She-Hulk tonight. I just threw it in there because I am being a dumbass and watching it.
And we didn't think we'd talk about it that much, but then we ended up doing we don't really plan the show out a lot. Sometimes we'll talk about certain subjects we want to cover or things we want to talk about, or I've got, something to show, and or you've got something to show, Raquel does. So, but we don't, don't go through it. And, sometimes it depends on what the chat's doing and how the chat kind of directs us, and we can kind of see, that's enough on this subject. And there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of, there's a lot of commentary on what's happening with, comics and IPs and things we love. I mean, look what happened with Star Wars. They came in and said, I was late to the game and seeing that, the Force is female shirts and all that stuff. And, Star Wars is another traditionally, boys love Star Wars, and a lot of women too, but, predominantly young boys bought Star Wars toys and
totally a boy thing.
And my sister, liked Princess Leia. But predominantly, and then they're trying to, skew it, towards women and not write good, more concerned with having Rey as a character, which but then just having bad characters and not concentrating on giving us a good story, and that's where it falls. That's where it falls apart. So
I will admit, I used to make fun of people who like Star Wars.
You're mean.
I totally did. I was like, look, man, I love Star Trek. Star Trek is for nerds, but that Star Wars stuff.
Yeah,
that's for kids. It's got Muppets in it. I was horrible before I met you guys. I was horrible.
No, that's okay.
And I apologize.
I love them both. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. No, look, I think there's the thing. When you get old enough, you think it's, if someone, even if you love it and someone's making fun of it, you should be able to laugh about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do.
And I think it's funny. I mean, I love Star Wars, but I'm a Trek person through and through, first of all.
Yeah.
Let's say, all right, I got the poll, by the way. Let me,
What'd you do? What'd you do, babe?
I did a poll. I gotta find it.
I did watch Farscape, Larry, because all of you made me watch it. You all harassed me and harangued me until I did watch Farscape, and you know what? I totally enjoyed it. I love little.
But that had puppets.
I know, but I've changed. I've changed since I've been hanging around with you folks.
I didn't make you watch
before I met you.
I didn't make you watch Sandman though.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, but you kind of did, you big jerk.
Oh my god!
You mentioned it, so I thought I was going to be like cool, and I was going to know what the geeks were watching.
You could have been a cool
watch it, and then
you made her watch it. Damn you, dude!
Yeah, I said I'm not going to talk to you again until you watch Sandman.
All right, here we go. You want to see the? I did a poll. Are you going to watch Rings of Power? And we got 70% said no, sir.
Yay!
No, nada. And you got 27% said yes, but I think Narada Maxamander had mentioned earlier a couple hours ago that he accidentally clicked yes when meant no. So you're covered, Narada. I got you. I understand you. So it's even less than 27. And again,
Stargate SG1 is excellent, JT Kirk. Sorry to interrupt. I'll be quiet.
No, you good. No, good. But yeah, I'm just going to say that yes. And look, watch it if you feel like watch. If you got to watch it, watch it. I'm one of those that says watch it, even if you know it's going to be crap. If you want to watch it so you can talk about it, watch it, because you can't really talk about something if you didn't. I mean, you could talk about say, that's crap. I'm not watching it. That's fine. But if you're going to say that's a piece of crap to someone who watched it and who likes it, then you're, well, did you watch it? No. Well, how do you know? You got nothing. Now you could just say, so you got to be able to, if you want to have the info, but all that said, don't watch it if you just don't feel like it. But if you want to argue, and I like doing that, I watch the garbage, but not this thing. I'm not even going to watch. I would answer. I'm not allowed in the poll, but I would answer no. I'm not going to watch it.
I'm going to watch it.
I don't plan on watching it. I read the books when I was a little kid. I think I was in grade 3 or grade 4 the first time I read The Hobbit. I have no interest in watching a show that is trying to rewrite Tolkien and using his name and his brand and all of the love that he has, all the favor and all of the adoration that he has earned through his beautiful writing by a bunch of punks in a writer's room who are working for a corporation, who are saying ridiculous things online like, Tolkien who and all these other things I've been seeing on social media, as though this is going to completely usurp the legacy of Tolkien, and now this is going to be the new thing, and we'll forget about the books. Are y'all having a laugh? That's not ever going to happen. I'm not going to watch this crap. No crap for me.
And by the way, I want to be perfectly clear. It's also valid to say that looks like crap. And I've seen enough to go, I know I don't want to watch it. That's another thing. Like people say, can take it even too literally when they say to you, for example, well, you didn't watch it, how do you know it's crap? Well, look, when you walk into a bookstore, I think they still have those.
A few.
There are a bunch of, often with fiction books, there are a bunch of words on the back giving you a little, kind of a synopsis of what the book's about, right? And obviously, when you walk out of the bookstore, you didn't buy every single book in the store. If you bought one or two. So you could go, well, wait a minute. You walked out of there. You picked that book. I saw you pick up that book. You read about it and you put it back. So you didn't give that book a chance because you didn't read it. How do you know you wouldn't like it?
Yeah.
Well, Jesus Christ, there's so much out there. I just looked at it and it didn't really interest me that much. Okay.
It had a very large man embracing a very small woman, and they were kissing. And I just knew that I would puke if I read that.
So you can't read everything, can't watch everything, basically. And if you love Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, whatever, and you see like a trailer or Lord of the Rings, and you see trailers and a bunch of info on it, and because in this day and age, the overload of information can get to you, and you see a bunch of info that makes you go, no, and you don't watch it, that's also valid. I'm simply saying you can't get in a debate about the interworkings of the episode, the show, if you didn't watch it. You can go, I think it's drivel, I don't want to watch that crap, and that's fine. But you can't get into the debate without saying it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's why
I wanted to tell you something important.
Yes.
I am currently reading the very first detective novel I have ever read that is in the science fiction category.
Oh my.
Right?
What's it called?
You know that I don't like that detective crap, but well, because it's so formulaic. But I am reading Make Room by Harry Harrison.
Oh wow, yeah, I've heard of him. I don't know that book particularly, but I know the name.
And yeah, so it's from the Penguin, Little Penguin. I love Little Penguin because it's academic, so it has all these beautiful footnotes and you know, and it's a wonderful experience. And you know, I'm an academic, so I really enjoy the academic experience of a book. Footnotes are like, oh, I love it. So it's from the Little Penguin science fiction collection, and it's so much fun. And yeah, and I just wanted to say that it's a detective story set in science fiction, and I'm not hating it. I'm not sure if I'd ever read from this genre again, but I'm glad that I tried it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Good.
Sure. Did anyone here ever read the Jehovah Contract by Victor Coleman? I love that book, and that's sort of a detective science fiction. But anyway.
Oh, really?
But that guy only wrote like a couple of books. He's all over Twitter, and he's like friends with Robert Meyer Burnett and always picking on him about politics. He's a pretty cool dude. But I read that book back in the 80s and really loved it. Of course, it's been since like 30-something years. It's about a hitman who is an assassin who is hired to kill God.
What?
Interesting book. Yeah.
Did he need a spaceship to get to God?
I say nothing. No one's ever read it, but I think no one's ever read it but me.
Never heard of it. No.
Larry, I read Sherlock Holmes stories by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle when I was a kid, and I have the whole collection.
Me too.
I basically read them all from like one of those big master books, you know, where they put them all together in a master series. I basically read them all in a grade 5 and grade 6. I would say mostly grade 6. Larry, I was the nerd kid. I wasn't a geek. Wasn't a popular kid. I was a kid that was actually a part of the library log. So I went door to door collecting names of people who would sponsor me for how many books I would read, and I would get paid per book. And so I had a
you
library
must have been
log.
Super unpopular.
I was super unpopular. I read stories for charity, and I also read stories for credit at school. I was a library log kid.
Oh my God.
Weirdo library log kid.
Nice.
So
how often did your lunch money get stolen?
Not often. I mean, I am Irish. You're gonna get a fast 5 in the snip if you come at me when I'm a kid. But
you whack him with a book, I guess, right?
Yeah.
You always had a book with you.
I had a stack of books. I was one of those terrible. Like I had a stack of books. It was awful. I mean, I enjoyed every second of it. I could read 5 books a week.
I have that collection of Sherlock Holmes books too. Claude gave it to me for my birthday. And one year when we were, I remember. Oh man, I'll never forget getting that. Love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's great stuff.
Yep.
I love Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, no, there's a certain when you're in the mood for that kind of stuff. It's great. And Sherlock Holmes actually he killed the character Arthur Doyle. He killed off the character, then it brought him back because he was so popular. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and I apologize. I guess that's my fan is making Catwoman dance there with
That's okay.
With Spider-Man.
Restless like Spider-Man.
You left her in the box. You left Catwoman in the box.
She's still in the box. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I don't know. I got to find a spot. Sometimes I leave him in the box until I get a spot. I'm out of room. I need more shelves.
Old arch nemesis Catwoman. I love Julie Newmar.
See how I hate female comic book characters. I guess I should throw all these out.
That's a bunch of crap.
You're a masseuse or a misogynist. One of those two.
There's so many
Misuse.
things. There's so many things swirling around in your head when you feel upset about this, Mark, and none of it is misogynistic. I think most of the time when you're upset about this stuff is because you grew up with it. Like, you're my friend, I know you pretty well. And I think, in my opinion of you, I think a lot of the time the reason why you get upset is because you have become dedicated to the pretend world created by these authors. And when someone comes in and they tear that entire pretend world apart, the pretend world you've been building up in your head for over, 40 years, you feel betrayed. Like, what do you mean? It'd be like somebody coming in and singing honky tonk over the Beatles. It makes you feel upset because you're like, hey, I love this stuff. But I don't think that comes from a place of hate in you. And I've known you for a couple years now, coming up on at least 2 years, and we spend like 10 hours a week together every week. So, I think I know you pretty well, and I don't find you to be misogynistic, and I don't think that a lot of people don't know what misogynistic is, so I'm just going to say it. I don't think you hate women. I don't think you have anything against women. I just think that you really like this pretend world. You love it like I love my books. This beautiful pretend world where there is, this pantheon of almost godlike creatures, and they have all these abilities, and all the stories. And when someone comes in and messes with it, mucks about, and tries to rewrite all those stories, you're rightfully outraged. You say, no, those are my stories. You can't change those stories. I love those stories. So I know what's in your heart. So screw those people.
I like that Marvel. I should have got that Marvel girl. I love that. I know I'm not supposed to call her Marvel girl, right?
No, but that's
you can call me a girl anytime, honey. I'm a half century old, and now I want to be called a girl. Call me a girl, baby.
Girl, let me see. Yeah, I love that. That's I love that costume too.
That was a great figure. So I saw that figure. I'm like, that's so
to speak. Yeah.
But yeah, it just very well said, Raquel. And that's what you don't. The attacking the fans, I just never understood that. When you hear about
and that was preemptive strike too. It was like that was filmed a long time ago. I mean, it was just fans have been picking. This stupid She-Hulk show has been in the works. They've been talking about it for years and years when they put that idiot Dana Schwartz girl on it. So
RM, you don't sound a day over 33. They
true.
Tell me I also don't look a day over 33, but I am in fact old. I have offspring that is almost that age. So thank you, Papa Delta Yankee.
Just not as old as us.
It's genetics.
Just not as old as me or Mark, though.
I'm not as old, but Mark is closer to my age than you are.
He's in the middle.
Mm-hmm. I'm in the middle. Yep, I'm in the middle.
Right,
kid,
smack in the middle of our age.
Smack dab.
Well. I tell you what, it's been. I think we should start wrapping it up here now.
Wow,
thank everybody for hanging out with us at the Clubhouse tonight. It is so fantastic that you were all here. Quick show note again. Tomorrow night, I should be over at Nick's Comic Shop. And they'll show them, and again, something I talked about last night. If you're a Fantastic Four fan, I really recommend this book that I just got yesterday, thanks to Minimus having it held for me at the comic shop, by Alex Ross, Fantastic Four for Full Circle. I don't going to spoiler it by showing much of it, but it's a beautiful book. I really love what Alex Ross did with the art. It's such a wonderful love letter to Kirby. And Kirby's FF, it's beautiful.
No, it looks fantastic. Pardon the pun.
Yes. No, I hear you, man.
I didn't even say. As I said it, I realized what I was saying. But yeah, it looks
terrible.
I hear you. And, Saturday night Star Trek continues. So 4 more episodes, same Trek time, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Same Clubby channel. I'm looking forward to that. What a great crowd we always get on Saturday nights. And 4 more episodes of Deep Space Nine when we're just now getting underway in season 2 and really enjoying it. And I know the Marker's got a little bit of a Sunday Night Geekery.
Oh yeah, Sunday Night Geekery will be on. I might do a shorter show because I got the pig roast the next day, or start earlier, or just tell everyone, Mark, shut up now. It's he gone on for 2 hours. Time for bed. That kind of stuff.
You can just cancel it till the week after if you don't want to.
I could too. We'll see how it goes, but I hate to cancel. At least do like an hour and a half show because I enjoy hanging out with everyone so much and talking to everyone. So it's always a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll maybe do something just a shorter version. Leave them wanting more. Thank you, Mim. And Mark, please put your link in your channel. Please go to Mark's channel if you have not subscribed already to do that, and go to Cardinal Sin's channel. Thank you, Cardinal Sin, and anyone else's that you have. We got a bunch of them in my description below. And yes, MMM Star Trek month for sure.
on the Clubhouse. A week from tonight, everybody, it's Star Trek Day, the 8th.
Yeah.
And we will celebrate accordingly. We'll figure out. I'll get with Raquel and Mark and see what they want to do if he's even here next week. I don't know if he's here.
No, I should be here. Yep. And I might go. We'll see what I end up doing. I guess
Gotcha.
the TMP is going to be shipping out. I guess that week too for the 4K. Maybe I'll have a backyard party and watch it on the screen.
There you go. That's a good plan. Yeah. So I want to thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. Truly appreciate it. What a great crowd. I mean, just we'll go ahead and let you get out of here, so we won't do the big long shout outs to everybody because it's I know it's getting late and it's still a weeknight. So but thank you so much for all your super chats and all your kind your chats in the just your chats in general, just for hanging out with us. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
And thank you. It was good to see you there, Ed. And Manic Drop Bear was here.
Hey.
Thanks to the mods. Thank you all so much. We give everyone the big shout outs. We'll give them all the shout outs Saturday day night. We're going to let everybody run now because it is getting late for everybody, I know. But thank you all who stuck it out with us. And hey, I don't know, just have a great. Oh well, yeah, it's a big week. It's a big weekend here. That's right. Have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody.
Yeah. Don't labor, just enjoy.
Yeah, do not labor. So thank you, and please enjoy these messages. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Your agonizer, please.